So 39. So konti na lang guys. Just give me more few more minutes guys. Set up ko lang to. Cinderella. Alright. So 40. Ilan ba tayo dito? I think nasa... Sila John Mark Palagros. Okay guys, kindly please open your camera for our documentation. Kindly please. Please do me a favor guys. Pakibuksan yung camera. Alright, thank you. Thank you so much guys. Happy New Year again. And then, pasensya na last week guys, sobrang loading ako, but I'm trying to fix my internet sa URC San Fernando. So, binalik ko yung binalik. Last week kasi bumili ako ng ano, I don't know kung alam niyo yung PLDT na parang pocket wifi pero sinasaksak siya. So, niloloadan siya. Ang sabi nung sa SM, meron na siyang 10 gigabyte. Then for about, ang sobrang hina niya guys. Sobrang hina ng ano niya. So binalik ko siya then susubukan ko naman yung smart. Titingnan ko siya. So for now, nandito ako sa bahay ulit kasi ang duty ko doon sa kantin namin is mamayang gabi pa. So alas 6 ng gabi hanggang alas 6 ng umaga. So this one is good schedule for us. Kindly please open your camera guys for our documentation. Si Almia Maglalang, De Guzman Kit, John Carl Manalang, and then Guevara Iris. Pakibuksan yung camera, guys, so that we can see you. Or, so mag-check lang ako ng attendance, guys, and kindly please say present. Si Abaro Marjorie R. Kindly please say present, guys. Pakilakas. Tapos si Anuran, Ira May.
Present po.
Austria, Limer Nicole.
Present.
Banggit Jessica. Bangit Jessica.
Po.
Bar- Barantes Dalia Nicole.
Present po.
Bawiin Erica Luis.
Present po.
Bonggayan Angelo Carlo.
Present po.
Briones Carl Ryan.
Present po.
Calaguas John Mark.
Present po, sir.
Carrion Jessica.
Present, sir.
Corcuera Vincent. Corcuera Vincent. Corcuera Vincent. Wala. And then David Gary B. David.
Present, sir.
David Carlo D. David Carlo. Carlo. Okay, next is Kit De Guzman.
Present, sir.
Di Macali Carla.
Present.
Eduardo Janelle Eduardo.
Present po.
Emeria Camille.
Present po.
Francisco Cinderella.
Present po.
Francisco Jillian Marie.
Present po, sir.
What is this? Galarpe Princess Angel.
Present po.
Gamboa JR.
Present, sir.
Glovio Tricia Lee. Glovio Tricia Lee. Tricia.
Present po.
Guevara Irish.
Present po.
Guevara Jamel.
Present po.
Giyang Joe Mike. Joe Mike Giyang. Joe Mike. Joe Mike. Giyang Pauline Ann.
Dapat po.
Hulgian Ashley.
Sir, present po.
Lacanilaw Mariel.
Present po, sir.
Libutano Jenny Rose.
Present po.
Maglalang Almia. Almia Maglalang.
Present, sir.
Christina Maglake.
Present po.
Malo Christian.
Present po.
Manaloto John Carl.
Present po.
Miranda Gabriel.
Present po. Present po.
Mone Chester.
Present po, sir.
Nieva Rosel.
Present po.
Rueda Rafael.
Present po.
Simpao Sheena.
Present po.
Season Raisin.
Present po.
Tadeo Rhea May. Sorry.
Present po.
Tiglao Joan.
Present po.
Urbano Justin. Urbano. Meron ba akong hindi natawag, guys? Giyang Joe Mike. Nandito na ba? Giyang Joe Mike.
Present po.
Alright. How about David Carlo? David Carlo. David Gary. Wala pa? David Carlo and David... Ay, no, sorry. Conquera Vincent. Conquera, dito ah.
Present po.
Urbano Justin, nandito na? Alright, let me know later. Okay guys, kindly please open your camera for our documentations. Please open your camera, guys. Do me a favor, guys. Please open your camera. Jillian.
Sir, sira po yung camera nung sir, kung sa akin, sir, yung sa tablet.
Sino to? Si
Jillian po, sir.
Jillian. Alright. Sino pa? Alright, guys. How about Jenny? Jenny Rose Libutano. The Guzman Kid. Alright, I'll just take a picture. One more. Okay guys, meron ba akong hindi natawag? Kindly please let me know kung meron akong hindi natawag. So, last call for Urbano Justin. Nandito na ba? Urbano Justin and David Carlo. Nandito na? Kung wala pa, maybe for our second attendance, guys. Ayun guys, sobrang actually last week, this one is Carlo David. I'm sorry na hindi ko pa na-admit. Okay, Carlo David. I'm sorry, late ko na siya na-admit. Carlo David, nakapasa ka na. Sorry na hindi kita kagad na-admit. How about Justin? Urbano Justin? Nandito na ba? Alright, guys. So, for this. So, sorry last week guys, sobrang nag-struggle ako. Sobrang loading yan. Every seconds naglo-loading yung aking instructor. So, medyo magulo pa yung sa business namin for the canteen. So, I'm hoping next week masettle na namin siya. Nung nakuha namin yun, I'm so excited na sana maka-invite kami doon for some of the students. Pero sobrang higpit. Sobrang higpit ng pagpasok guys. Kailangan mo muna ng medical. Tapos ang dami-dami mo mga pinaprocess. Kasi para makita nyo sana yung mga service talaga. Actually, we are doing productions ng mga bread, pero ginagawa namin yung bread productions namin during madaling araw. So, kumuha din ako ng isang baker. And then, sana nakakapag-invite ako. Kaso, ang production talaga ng bread na po pwede namin gawin dun sa canteen is morning. So, ang dami namin mga breads na ginagawa. Merong mamon, meron mga iba-ibang klaseng tinapay. So, nauubos din siya. Sobrang dami na pinapakain namin. So, nasa 600 to 700 a day yung pinapakain namin the whole day. So, it's 24 hours. So, last week, sobrang marag. That is our first day. Nung nag-meeting ako sa inyo last Monday, that is our first day. So, everybody is adjusting doon sa time. Tapos, nag-struggle pa ako doon sa Wi-Fi ko. So, I apologize. And then, again, uulitin ko lang. So I would like to congratulate you despite of this kind of learning study sa atin na virtual. So nakagawa pa rin kayo ng mga creative and very amazing ginger house. So sobrang nakakatuwa siya guys. But nakakalungkot kasi hindi natin sila na-display and we didn't see each other na yung mga finished product ninyo. But still I'm grateful na napakadaming mga magagandang nagawa. Again guys, in every productions or in every creations na gagawin niyo sa baking, you must have to put your heart, your mind, and your quality of time. It's not about making. It's not just about. It's not about making or doing your obligations as a student para gawin. Or it's not about more on mag-comply ka doon sa requirement ng teacher niyo or requirement ko to make a project, but it's more on showcasing your skills and talent pagdating sa baking. Baking need patience, guys. Baking need time. Hindi kailangan ng space. Kailangan time. Hindi pwede dito yung I need the space and I need more time. You need really more time, and you need to put your heart in every creations. So katulad ng nabanggit ko, guys, that is the basic, napaka-basic pa nun. Very basic yung ginawa natin na yun. But in every project na gagawin niyo, in every product na gagawin niyo for the baking, you must have to put your time. You must have to put your heart. And then, bago ninyo umpisahan, mag-research muna kayo. Try to research something about those sa gagawin ninyo, and then try to find kung ano yung mga designs na gagawin niyo before you put it in. Kasi marami sa inyo na napakaganda ng structure, pero basta-basta na lang nilagyan ng kulay, basta-basta na lang naglagay ng mga designs. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya masyadong pinag-isipan. Magkaiba yung sinasabi natin na magkaiba guys yung okay to doon sa pwede na. So, kailangan alisin natin yung style na yon when it comes to baking. No? Magkaiba yun. Hindi natin pwedeng i-apply dito yung pwede na. It should be okay na. Kasi at the end of the story, hindi ako ang magbe-benefits kung hindi rin kayo. Someday, you can use this pattern of teaching. Pwede nyo siyang i-apply para magkaroon ng ibang platform ng mga creations sa mga estudyante. Kasi this is our first time to create a ginger house sa CCA. And for me, it's another history. Actually, Sir Dino share our post, and nag-message nga siya that despite doon sa mga nangyayari, still nakakagawa pa rin tayo ng production. So, hindi ko nire-request sa mga production natin is to buy expensive ingredients. Hindi ko sinasabing bumili kayo ng maraming ingredients just to create that one. Kailangan nyo lang gamitin yung imaginations and creativity ninyo para makakuha ng mga ingredients na meron kayo sa bahay. Or meron kayo malapit na bilhan lang. So you don't need to buy ng maraming mga ingredients or expensive para lang magawa ninyo. Again, congratulations. And maybe yung iba maganda sa video, maganda sa pictures, pero I think mas maganda sila sana sa personal, yung nakita natin. And that is really basic. So soon, meron pa tayong mga ibang gagawin, and then hoping na makita nyo, hoping na mas lalo pa ninyong galingan, guys. No? So again, sa baking, kailangan natin ng pasensya. Hindi lahat. Minsan sa mga baking school, like for example, nung ako nag-enroll ako sa baking school, kasi normally sa mga baking school, maximum of 15 students, 15 students per class. So, minsan makikita mo yan after 1 month. That is a 6 months. That is a 6 months class. Minsan makikita mo yan, yung 15 na estudyante, magiging after a month, magiging 10 na lang. And then after 3 months, makikita mo, magiging 8 na lang yan. Hanggang sa makikita mo, halos nakalahati yung mga nag-enroll sa baking. Kasi not everyone loves baking kasi it needs patience and it needs time. Kumakain siya ng oras, guys. Ngayon, kung wala kang enough time para sa baking is not for you. Parang ganun siya, no? So, ako sobrang late ko nang na-discover that I love baking. I was in the late 30s na, or maybe 30 plus na ako nung na-discover ko that I love baking. Parang ganun. So, 32, 33, 34, parang ganun nung nag-aral ako ng baking. But now, nagagamit ko silang parehas. Hindi mo kailangan mamili. Whether you like cooking or baking, hindi mo kailangan mamili kung alin doon. Ang importante is alam mo silang parehong i-process. At the end of the day, when you go to your personal history as a teacher, magiging dalawa yung reference niyo. Pwede ka sa baking, pwede ka sa cooking, and other skills na natututunan ninyo sa City College of Angeles. So, yun lang ang pinaka-advice ko. Pero, more or less, baking need more time and space. Alright, guys? So, congratulations and maraming salamat doon. And then, our next project now is susunod natin yan is yung ating gum paste flour. And gum paste flour is not just a basic cake. Ngayon, kung wala kayong oven, walang reason para hindi ka makagawa. You have your stove, pwede natin silang steam. Ngayon, kung wala kang molder ng mga cakes, meron kang meron kang kasirola or palanggana, we can use that one, guys. Pwede natin gamitin ng steam, pwede natin gamitin ng oven, pwede tayong gumamit ng oven toaster, or even turbo boiler, pwede natin silang gamitin for our baking, guys. So, pero hindi naman ganun kadami yung pinapabake. I mean, hindi rin siya ganun kalaki. Normally, makikita mo yung papadecorate ko is like ganito lang, guys. Sobrang maliit na cake lang. Or, kung pwede rin, you can buy. Parang ganun siya. Pero ang kagandahan lang kasi kapag nag-mix ka, mafe-feel mo that yung finished product mo is more on you, hindi yung nabili mo lang siya. So, yun lang, guys. So, sayang hindi pa rin tayo makakapag-school. Parang gano'n. So, ready na rin, guys, yung aking YouTube. So, kung wala kayong questions, do you have any questions? Kung meron kayong request or questions or comment regarding dun sa ating Ginger House, pwede tayong magsalita ngayon. So, habang meron time para dito sa ating Zoom meeting. So, again, guys, sobrang ganda ng mga creations niyo. Yun nga lang, meron sa inyo that most of the judges is naghahanap talaga sila ng team. Hinahanap nila yung team at saka design yung team and concept ng mga Ginger House na ginawa ninyo. Alright, guys, any questions or any suggestions na po pwede natin gawin na activity? Pwede ako mag-adjust. Kasi ako, guys, kung hindi kayo magko-comment or suggestions din sa mga activity, I will continue it. Pero kung like for example, we will encounter problem or some of you is struggling na bumili ng mga ingredients, we can remove those activities and try to find another one para lang meron tayong ginagawa for our laboratory. Pero if no one will do some suggestions or complain na, sir, wala po kami pambili ng ganito, sir, wala po kami kasing ganito income. So I will continue the activity. Pero kung meron sa atin na nag-struggle, I will stop it. Kasi I don't want naman na during the pandemic is makakadagdag pa ako para doon. But I am not more on gagastusin ko kayo, but I am more on the experience na po pwede ninyong magawa. Kasi kung hindi natin gagawin to, guys, kung hindi natin gagawin yung mga activity nito to, kailan pa? Kasi after this semester, wala na kayong ibang baking. This is the only baking na meron kayo, guys. So yun lang, guys. So you have any questions? And I'm hoping na sana lahat tayo is maganda ang New Year. I mean, maganda ang taon na darating despite of last year na nangyari sa atin. I mean, both sa mga parents and family members natin na nag-work, ang dami din mga business na nagsara. But still, positive pa rin ako. Looking forward na positive na sana maging okay yung lahat. So guys, do you have any suggestions or comments? Kasi soon, magbibigay ako ng activity and I don't have any idea kung kaya ninyo or hindi nyo kaya. Pero if someone, kahit isa lang, na magsabi sa akin that mahihirapan siya, we will adjust. I will adjust. Kasi mahirap naman, guys, yung hindi natin, meron sa inyo na hindi makakapag-comply. Although it's sad, but kailangan natin tanggapin at this period of time, ang hirap kumita ng pera. Ang hirap kumita ng pera, guys. So, do you have any questions, guys? Kindly please let me know habang meron pa tayong oras. And then later, pupunta na tayo doon sa ating Zoom meeting. I mean, YouTube Live. Do you have any suggestions, guys? Sabi ni John Mark Calaguas, bagal po ng internet ko, sir. Unstable net po, sir. Unstable daw ang net ni John Carl Manaloto. And then si Giyang Joe Mike. Present po, sir, Giyang Joe. Yes, nakita ko na kanina. And then si Rueda, present. And then si Vincent Cuera, sir, present po ako. Nag-CR lang po. Alright, guys. Bawi in Erica, unstable po net ko. Yes, I am very sorry doon sa mga unstable net. But yung ating discussion later, kung unstable yung net ninyo, pwede ninyong balikan, guys, doon pwede ninyong balikan sa aking YouTube Live anytime. Pwede niyo siyang gawin. Kasi hindi ko rin kayo masisi about doon sa unstable of your net. Kasi I also encountered minsan, especially last Monday. So again, if you don't have any questions, I'm hoping na sana kahit papaano is meron tayong matututunan. And don't forget to get your notebook, guys. And then take some notes doon sa mga sasabihin ko ngayon. Kasi today, we will going to discuss some of the techniques and tips kung paano mag-bake. So, last Monday, it's very basic, guys. Everyone can do that. Yung mga basic cupcakes na maliliit na ginawa ko. Everyone can do that. Napakasimple niya. Pero sometimes, kahit magaling na tayong mag-bake, we need to read more and we need to watch more and we need to listen dun sa mga ibang bakers. Sometimes ang nangyayari sa atin is yung ating ego. Ego plus yung willingness sana natin na matuto is nagko-conflict. Parang you know how to bake, you are very good baker, but you don't want to listen to others. Parang ganun siya, no? So ako naman, ang sa akin is, if I am a good baker, and then someone is telling me na eto, maganda siya, ganito yung proseso niya, I will also adapt that one. At the end of the day, magaling na ako mag-bake, at the same time, meron na naman akong natutunan. Baking is like a schooling, guys. After mo ng college, kailangan mo mag-master. After mo mag-master, kailangan mo mag-doctorate. And then after that, marami pang pwedeng pag-aralan. Same with the baking, guys. After you learn the basic in the baking, kailangan mo rin matutunan kung ano yung mga bagong techniques and procedure na nila-discover nila. And then from the scratch, ang dami-dami na ng mga gamit ngayon, guys, na po pwede nating mabili na lang, na hindi na natin kailangan. Like for example is caramel. Caramel, before we can create caramel from the scratch. Ngayon, guys, sobrang mura lang. 100 plus, makakabili ka na ng nasa 1,000 gram na caramel sauce. Ngayon, kung hindi mo masyadong feel yung sauce niya, all you have to do is to adjust na lang. Pero still, napaka-konting trabaho na lang siya. Alright, guys, do you have any questions? If you don't have any questions, I will request everyone to go to our YouTube live. Kasi wala naman natang gustong magtanong. Guys, kung hindi kayo magtatanong, ko-continuous lang ako doon sa mga nasa mind ko. But if you keep asking questions, possible na hindi ko siya na-mention, pero if you ask questions, hindi lang ikaw yung matututo kung hindi lahat is matututo doon sa questions na yun. Same with me, guys. Parang ganun, parang nare-review ka na rin yung sarili ko. So kindly please keep asking questions. Hindi tayo pwede na ganito lang katahimik, guys. Alright? So anyone?
Sir,
Yes. Yes.
Ano po, next February po kasi exam na. Magpapa-exam po ba kayo sa amin, sir?
Hindi. Si Ma'am Karen ang magpapa-exam sa inyo. Pero sa akin is more on ano lang siya, small activity na project regarding baking. Pero yung written exam is si Ma'am Karen.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. And then yung class standing ninyo, like for example, if you have some recitations or mga quizzes or major exam, kay Ma'am Karen lahat magagaling yun. And then I will just give some, katulad ng Ginger House. Ginger House is with the points. Parang ganun. And then, like for example, yung participations ninyo sa akin dito sa, I give points. Like for example, yung kapag nasa YouTube live na ako, yung mga umaakyat and then nag-share ng kanilang mga thoughts, nagbibigay din ako ng points doon just to add it doon sa class standing ninyo. Parang ganun siya. And then yung attendance also with the points, pero mababa lang naman yung points when it comes to attendance kasi it's not proper to give points sa attendance, pero at this very moment kailangan siya, pero it's not proper, pero obligasyon siya natin pareho, guys. Parang ganun siya. So, yun, si Ma'am Karen ang magbibigay ng exams inyo. I only handle the laboratory, supposedly, and then some of the activity na po pwede ninyong gawin. The rest, activity, that is actual activity, hindi regarding do sa lessons or topic. Thank you for that question. Sino pa yung gusto magtanong, guys? And then after this, pwede na tayong lumipat. Kasi katulad na nabanggit ko, if you don't ask questions, hindi ko malalaman yung nasa loob ninyo. Same with the other sections, guys. Pag tinatanong ko sila kung ano yung mga gusto nilang tanong, they don't ask questions. After ng klase ko sa kanila, sometimes yung president or secretary or vice president, they will message me. Doon pa lang sila nagtatanong. I mean, questioning is hindi naman siya nakakatakot. I mean, wala naman mali sa mga questions. Posible pa na nakalimutan ko siya, and then I will be thankful kapag naalala ko. I mean, kapag meron kayong tinanong yun, then nakalimutan ko pala siyang i-discuss. So, any more questions, guys? Actually, kailan ang exams ninyo? February, first week, second week? Actually, kahit ako hindi ko pa nababasa yung mga ibang memos or because it's really busy. Pero
First week daw po.
First week? Tama? First week of February.
Opo.
And then after that, finals will be on April. Yeah. So any more questions, guys? So if you don't have any more questions, I will end this Zoom meeting and then I will wait you doon sa ating YouTube live. So naka-live na ako ngayon, so I will just waiting for you guys. So any more questions? Kindly please let me know. Ang daming magaling, sobrang daming magaling na, I mean, sayang, sana kung nasa totoong buhay tayo, I mean, nasa school tayo, posibleng madidiscover nyo pa yan. Maraming mga tao na hindi, I mean, walang pakialam sa baking, pero once na nakita nila kung ano yung ganda ng baking, doon pa lang nila nadidiscover that they have the passion and commitment doon sa baking. Alright guys, thank you so much. Kung wala na kayong questions, I will end this Zoom meeting and then I will wait you doon sa ating YouTube live. Alright? So thank you again guys and Happy New Year, and I'm hoping na maging okay yung mga buhay-buhay natin, especially yung mga family members ninyo na nagtatrabaho. And then if you have your own business, sana maging okay sila for 2021. And then sana maging normal na lahat so that everyone will free na lumabas. Alright guys, so I will end my Zoom meeting and then I'll see you around. Hi guys! Ayan. Thank you so much guys. So, isi-send ko ulit yung ating link to those who wanted to join with me. Pwede rin naman. Let's just wait to others guys and then pwede na tayong start. Alright. Let's do it. Alright guys. So, panoorin lang din natin itong ginagawa nila and then I'll give some comments to you guys. So, this one is, I don't know kung madalas na di-discover ninyo. I don't know kung madalas napapansin ninyo. Ulitin ko lang. Hold on. Okay guys, tingnan niyo yung procedure na gagawin nito. Yung towel is binabad nila sa tubig and then after he mix yung mixture ng cake niya, is kinover niya yung cake pan niya ng basang towel. And then you will see kung ano yung difference niya. Alright, that one. So let us pause it first. So that one is the difference, guys. So, madalas ang nangyayari, hold on, I will just get pan. Alright, ang ginawa niya is, like for example, this one is meron kang baking pan. So this one, meron akong baking pan. So normally kapag nilagay mo kasi sa oven to guys, especially kung yung bake pan mo is malapit siya doon sa apoy, doon sa ilalim, apoy sa ilalim ng oven mo, assuming this one is your oven, and then ito yung apoy ng oven mo, and then malapit lang siya dito, yung tinapay mo. Ang tendency nito guys is malaki yung bubbles. Malaki yung bubbles kasi masyadong mataas ang temperature ng heat mo. Kaya nga, yung cake mo, ang tendency niya is kumukulo siya ng malalaking mga bubbles. Kaya ang nangyayari, nagiging sabog yung nasa taas niya. Para siyang vulkan na basag, na pumuputok na ganon. And then, ang isang tip na po pwede nating i-share sa inyo guys is pwede ninyong basahin or madalas na encounter ninyo after ninyong binake yung cake mo, madalas makikita mo dito sa side is very dark yung kulay niya, or minsan from light brown nagiging mas dark brown yung kulay niya dito sa side, and then especially minsan makikita mo doon sa ilalim nasusunog na siya. So ang ginagawa natin is tinitrim natin yon para lang mawala yung dark color niya or yung burn side ng mga cakes natin, which is kapag nagtanggal ka ng ganon, mas madami or nababawasan yung amount or grams or weight ng original na cake mo. So, para mag-flat siya, then kapag nangyayari, ang cake mo is yung nasa kabilang side, matambok siya sa gitna, ang nangyayari is, kailangan mong i-trim or tanggalin yung nasa taas niya, which is nagiging waste na siya. So, kailangan mong tanggalin yun kasi kailangan mag-flat yung nasa taas ng cake mo para lang magkaroon ka ng second layer or papatungan mo ng second layer yung cake mo. So, uulitin ko lang guys. Madalas ang nangyayari sa mga cakes, nasusunog or nagda-dark yung kulay niya dito sa side na to. And then most of the time, dito sa ilalim niya kasi mas malapit yung mismong baking pan mo dun sa ilalim. I don't know kung natatandaan ninyo dati, sinasabi ko sa inyo. Kung ayaw mong masunog yung cake mo sa ilalim or dito sa may puwit niya, ang gagawin mo is i-steam bath mo siya. So ano ang ibig sabihin ng steam bath? So kumuha ka ng baking tray, lagyan mo ng konting tubig, and then ipatong mo yung baking pan na merong cake mixture or cake butter. And then, mas maiiwasan mong masusunog yung pinaka-puwit ng cake mo kasi nga naka-steam bath siya at merong water na nagko-control doon sa heat. And then, dalawang klaseng methods ang pinag-uusapan natin doon. Dalawang klaseng methods ang baking procedure na ginagawa natin doon. So, meron kang original methods of baking using an oven, and then yung second methods mo is yung steam bath na tinatawag nila. Or, pwede siyang pumasok doon sa category na steaming method. So, paggawa ng mga cakes pero hindi ka gumamit ng oven, pero gumamit ka ng ibang technique which is yung steaming method na tinatawag. So, yung isang picture na walang towel, makikita ninyo guys, na matambok yung nasa gitna niya, and then para siyang vulkan na bumagsak. I don't know kung natatandaan ninyo yung unang sinabi ko rin. Kapag naman minsan ang oven mo makikita mo meron siyang dalawang layer. So ibig sabihin pwede kang maglagay ng dalawang cake. Kapag nasa ilalim ang cake mo, mas mabilis siyang ma-burn sa ilalim. Pero maganda yung texture ng top niya. Kapag ang cake mo malapit siya sa taas ng kisame ng oven mo, ang nangyayari, safe yung ilalim mo, hindi na-burn yung ilalim niya. Pero yung nasa taas mo guys, ganyan ang mangyayari. Para siyang putok na tinapay na nabasag yung nasa taas niya. Kasi nga, sa sobrang lakas ng temperature sa taas, kaya nagkakaroon siya ng malaking bubbles doon sa upper part. And then, kapag tinanggal mo yan, kasi kailangan mong patungan ng second layer, or kailangan mong maglagay ng filling sa gitna and then ipatong ulit yung susunod na cake, kailangan natin i-trim yun. But sad to say, pag tinrim mo yan, nababawasan yung exact amount or grams or kilo na meron ka doon sa mixture mo. And then, nagiging waste lang yung tinatanggal mo. So, isang technique para maiwasan natin yung ganyang structure na top side is babasahin mo ng todo yung towel, yung talagang basang-basa siya guys. And then after that, i-cover mo dito sa side na to. I-cover mo dito sa side na to para maiwasan mo yung lakas ng temperature or uneven or yung uneven temperature o paggalaw ng oven mo. Kasi minsan, kahit nakaset na ng 170 Celsius ang oven mo, minsan, lalo na kapag luma siya or nagpa-fluctuate yung gas mo or yung electric mo, bumababa or tumataas yung temperature mo. Especially kung electric oven ang gamit mo. Minsan kapag mahina ang kuryente, bumababa yung temperature. Bumababa yung kuryente mo, bumababa din yung temperature ng oven mo. Kahit nakaset ka pa doon sa standard required ng items mo. So yun guys, so yun ang isang technique. Ako naman, if I forgot na maglagay ng towel dito sa side, and then ang nangyari is ganyan siya, yung putok na putok yung nasa taas niya, I don't trim that one. Kasi mababawasan yung bigat ng cake ko. Kasi yung cake ko is yung cake mixture ko is based siya doon sa costing amount ng costing ko na bigat ng cake ko. So ang ginagawa ko, definitely after mong nilabas yan sa oven guys, mabasa pa siya. Malambot pa siya. Ako ang ginagawa ko is binabrush ko siya ng sugar syrup. Sugar syrup. Paano yung paggawa ng sugar syrup? 1:1. Isang tasang tubig, isang tasang asukal, and then pakuluin mo lang siya. And then after that, low fire for about 5 minutes and then pwede na siya. So ibabrush ko siya ng sugar syrup on top para mas lumambot pa siya. And then para magkaroon siya ng added flavor, binabrush ko siya ng melted butter. So makikita mo, dahil mainit pa yung cake mo, kapag nag-brush ka ng butter, makikita mo ang bilis mo wala ng butter. And then ina-absorb siya ng laman ng cake kasi nga mainit pa siya. And then after that, guys, kukuha lang ako ng plastic gloves. Ang gagawin ko is, kung nakatambok yung dito ko, dahil naglagay ako ng syrup and then binrush ko siya ng butter, and then ang gagawin ko, guys, is ipa-flatten ko yung cake ko. I'm not going to trim it or tanggalin yung pangit na structure sa taas. Instead, ipa-flat ko kung saan merong umalsa na portion ng cake. And then, magiging pound cake pa siya. So, yun ang isang technique na pwede kong ma-share sa inyo, guys. Alright? Again, if you have some questions, guys, don't forget to chat me. Or pwede nyong, kasi delay ako sa StreamYard. So, pwede nyong i-chat doon sa GC natin and I will be glad kung meron kayong mga tanong. So, let's continue watching this video. And then this one, guys, if you don't have naman na wax paper, baking paper, because baking paper is very expensive, as you can see, guys. Ang ginawa niya is wax paper. This one is more on muffins. Mas madali siyang gamitin for the muffins. Ako, mas ginagawa ko yan for the muffins. So this one is yung cutting naman. This one is cutting. So as you can see, guys, madalas yan ang nangyayari kapag nagpa-flatten tayo ng pag nagka-cut tayo ng cake para magkaroon siya ng filling or palaman sa gitna. So this one is another technique, pero for me masyado siyang nasobrahan ng toothpick, guys, no. So that one is sinulid or yung nylon na kulay white. So pwede 'yun. So makikita mo yung difference. Minsan nakala natin, so I will just pause this one. So minsan akala natin, guys, minsan this one. Wait lang. So minsan akala natin kapag kinakat natin yung ating cake, akala natin pantay siya, pero after mong nakat, makikita mo nasa zigzag siya. Mataas sa unahan, then pababa ng pababa. So this one is another technique. And then, ang iba naman, guys, is gumagamit naman sila ng yung totoo talaga na pang-cutter. Para siyang sinulid, para siyang alambre na manipis, and then meron siyang handle both side, and then yun yung tinatawag nila na pang-division. And then makikita mo, kapag ginanon mo lang siya, guys, putol na kaagad yung cake. But this one is kailangan, yung second procedure is kailangan mo dyan is yung nylon na manipis or sinulid na matibay. And then, yun, guys, pwede mo na siyang hatiin na ganito. So this one is really important. Mga basic tips na minsan hindi natin nakalain na po pwede. So, yan ang isang procedure. Alright. Hold on. Mhm. So panoorin muna natin siya and then I will give some comment. So ulitin ko lang siya guys para makita niyo. So this one is yung paglalagay ng wax paper. Ang paglalagay ng wax paper guys is para hindi dumikit yung sa ilalim ng cake. Kasi kahit ginris mo pa yan ng fats, kapag hindi mo nilagyan ng wax paper guys, ang hirap niyan tanggalin. Pero kapag may wax paper siya, ma-avoid mo yung pagkasunog ng cake mo, at the same time, mas madali siyang tanggalin. So makikita niyo dyan guys yung isang technique kung paano niyo gugupitin yung papel. Alright. So, i-pause muna natin dito. So, that one guys. So, ipo-pause muna natin. So, ako ang isang technique na masishare ko, yung kanina kasi spinold niya yung papel and then after that, kinat niya. So, ako guys, ang technique ko pagdating dito, katulad na na-mention ko kanina, if you're not going to put some wax paper or baking paper dito sa ilalim, masusunog at masusunog yung cake ninyo. So, paano yung tamang procedure sa paglalagay ng wax paper or lining sa baking pan ninyo? So, i-grease mo muna siya ng shortening. Shortening, for me is shortening kasi wala siyang milk content, wala siyang sugar content. Pero kapag butter na yung nilagay mo, meron siyang milk content and sugar content, na possible na magkukos ng sunog doon sa items mo. So, i-grease mo muna siya ng shortening all around ng pan mo, hanggang dito sa side. And then after that, guys, doon mo palang ilalagay yung kinat mo na wax paper. And then, after that, ibabrush mo na naman siya ng shortening. And then, doon mo palang ilalagay yung mixture mo. Pero ako, guys, ang ginagawa ko para magupit ko yan and then eksakto siya. So, ito yung baking pan ko. This one is my baking pan. So, what I need to do is, ibabaligtad ko lang siya. Make sure na yung may butas ay nasa ilalim siya. And then, ito yung kukuhanin ko na size. So, kunwari, ito yung wax paper ko and then I have my baking pan. So, ang gagawin ko lang is ilalagay ko yung baking pan. I mean, wax paper on top. And then, hahanapin ko lang yung formation ng aking baking pan. Yung shape ng aking baking pan and then babakatin ko lang siya na ganyan. So, this one is really perfect kumpara doon sa isang structure. And then, doon ko pa lang siya gugupitin. No? So, this one guys. So, as you can see, this one, so makikita mo na yung shape ng baking pan mo. So, eto na yung shape ng baking pan ko. So, what I need to do now is doon ko na siya ikakat. And then after that, saktong-sakto siya dito sa puwit ng, dito sa loob ng yung baking pan. So, yun yung technique na po pwede kong gawin. So, dalawang technique procedures ng pinakita natin. So, let's continue to watch this video. Okay guys, as you can see guys, kung makita nyo kanina, hinawakan niya yung tinapay, medyo matigas siya. Parang matigas siya ng konti. So, nung nag-work ako sa barko, ang ginagawa namin is meron kami laging syrup. Minsan, lalagyan namin siya ng chocolate and then kapag tumigas yung mga chiffon cake or mga cake namin, ang ginagawa ko is binabrush ko ng syrup or ini-spray ko ng syrup para yung tinapay ma-absorb niya yung liquid and then magiging soft at lalambot siya ng konti. So, yun ang isang procedure na ginagawa namin. Katulad nito guys is, ang ginawa niya is binrush niya kasi tumigas na siya ng konti. So, ano yung nagiging reason kung bakit tumitigas yung mga cakes? Kasi it's either na after mong binake, kailangan mong ilagay sa kailangan mong ipatong sa mga cake rack. Ang cake rack is para siyang parilya or ihawan na meron siyang 4 na paa. Kasi bakit meron siyang paa? Kasi para yung hangin doon sa ilalim ng rack is pumapasok pa rin siya para hindi mag-moist yung ilalim ng tinapay mo or ng cake mo. And then after that guys, ang laking tulong niya, mas mabilis mong napapalamig yung mga tinapay mo or ng mga cakes mo. So yun ang purpose ng video na to. So let's continue to watch. Alright, let's do some comments about this one. Okay guys, kung napansin ninyo, meron siyang baking pan. Kung assuming this one is yung baking pan niya, and then naglagay siya ng aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is silver foil, no? So at least kapag nilagay mo sa apoy yan, is umiinit din siya. Hindi siya nasusunog, instead umiinit siya. So naglagay muna siya ng ng aluminum foil, and then after that, naglagay siya ng wax paper. So aluminum foil and then wax paper, and then nilagay na niya yung kanyang cakes mixture. So ano ang posibilidad na mangyari doon? So ang nangyari doon guys is yung aluminum foil, kapag nilagay mo na yan dito sa baking pan mo, and then yung baking pan mo na merong aluminum foil, ilalagay mo sa oven, ang tendency nito guys is mas magpapabilis yung luto mo kasi yung mismong aluminum foil is nag-a-add siya ng init. Nag-a-add siya ng init doon sa loob. Kung ang microwave hindi niya kailangan ng mga flowers or ng mga plastic para makapag-create ka, this one is really important guys. Kailangan siya. So, meron siyang foil and then aluminum wax paper, and then doon pa lang niya nilagay yung mixture ng cake niya. So again guys, sobrang makakatulong yung tip na to. So let's continue to watch. So ito guys is wala siyang piping bag or wala siyang wax paper. So para makapag-icing siya, gumamit siya ng plastic, Ziploc na plastic. And then bubutasin mo lang sa dulo mo para magkaroon ka magkaroon ka ng cakes mo. Alright. Let's do it. Hold it. Alright, let's do it, guys. So next video natin. Sorry guys minum lang ako ng gamot. I need to take a medicine for my acid. So, next procedure natin is... So again guys, if you have some questions, kindly please don't hesitate to drop your questions.
Not be ignored. If it is ignored, baka lumala. They feel low pag kumakain ng coke.
So let's do some, skip this one.
I was 16 and I was studying arts in high school. And trust me, I was making one disaster after another.
This one,
And back
this is
then, if
a
someone would have
good
told me that
baker
one day
then.
I'll have
Napakagaling din niya
a
na
recipe
baker.
blog or a book on baking, I would have told them you've lost it. Because honestly, back then it was beyond my imagination. So if you're in that same position where you love baking and baking makes you happy, but you're just not getting it right, please hang in there because I know you'll get better. And let me tell you, we all start at the same place and we all make the same mistakes. And you know how I got better? I didn't give up on baking. And I kept practicing and I kept experimenting and I kept watching baking videos like you are right now. And in today's video, I've put together a few baking tips that I've picked up over the last 7 years. I'll simplify them for you and share them with you because they've helped me become a better baker. And I think they'll help you as well. So let's get started. So my first baking tip for you guys would be to try and understand the ingredients that you're working with and the science of baking. That has made a whole lot of difference for me. Let's start by talking about baking powder and baking soda, for instance. So baking powder has baking soda plus an acid in it, so it reacts in itself. However, baking soda is alkaline in nature and needs an acidic ingredient going in the recipe to react. So I would use my baking soda only in a recipe which has an acid going in it. Otherwise, you'll get that horrible soapy taste. So I would use it for my chocolate cake or my carrot cake or any dessert with citrus. All right, now let's talk about sugar. I don't like using granulated sugar for my baking because the chunks are too big and they don't always melt in the oven, giving my cake that unwanted crunch. However, I would use the sugar for anything that I'm making on the stove, like a compote or caramel. My next tip to you, and I know you've heard this before, is to make sure all the ingredients that you're using for your recipe are at room temperature, especially the ones that you store in the fridge, like your eggs, butter, and milk. If your eggs aren't at room temperature, this is what you do. Place your eggs in a bowl and then submerge them in room temperature water. Let them sit like this for 5 to 6 minutes and then they'll be ready to use. The temperature of butter is most tricky when it comes to baking, and the consistency that you're looking for is softened. The reason why I never use butter straight out of the fridge is because it's too cold and hard and it becomes almost impossible to emulsify. However, I would use cold butter for pies, crumbles, and crisps. I also don't use melted butter for my cakes unless the recipe calls for it because it doesn't have enough structure. So what should your butter look like? It shouldn't be completely hard and it also shouldn't be completely melted. It should have some structure but should be soft to touch. My next tip to you guys is to be very precise with your measurements. I'm not a big fan of the phrase baking is a science because I think it makes baking sound super intimidating, scary, and boring. But I can't deny the fact that you need to be very particular about how you're measuring your ingredients. The most accurate way of measuring your ingredients is actually using a weighing scale, but I know for a fact that not a lot of us have access to the measuring scale, which is why I would recommend you get your hands on a good set of measuring cups and measuring spoons. Now let's see what's the best way of using these. Whenever you're using a measuring cup to measure your ingredients, use a spoon to transfer the ingredient into your cup and then use the back of the spoon to level it. While you're measuring flour, never pack the flour into the cup because in that case, you'd end up getting more than you actually need for your recipe. My next tip to you guys is to always prep your pan correctly. I know there's nothing more disappointing than a cake that gets stuck and doesn't come out of your pan. Always use a pastry brush or your fingers to brush your pan generously with butter or vegetable oil. Whenever you're prepping your pans for baking, parchment is your best friend, and make sure that you get your cake out smoothly every single time. Fold it into half and then another half and twice diagonally. Measure it from the center of the pan and cut out the excess. Unfold and you'll have a parchment that fits perfectly into your pan. It's also very important to understand the difference between butter paper and parchment paper. Always use parchment paper to line your pans because butter paper is not always heat resistant and does not hold shape in the oven, whereas it's great to wrap food once it's done. Whenever you're baking with eggs, always add them one at a time. If you add all the eggs together, you run the risk of splitting the batter. So always add one egg, mix it really, really well before you add the next. And now moving on to the most important tip that I can share with you. Never overmix while you're combining your dry and your wet ingredients. I think this is one mistake that I made for the longest time when I started baking, because I thought the more that I mix the batter, the better the cake would be. And honestly, it's just so much fun to keep mixing it, right? But now this is where I ditch my electric mixer and switch to using a spatula. And the best way to combine your wet and your dry ingredients at this stage is to just gently cut and fold. Use a spatula to cut in the middle of the mixture, scrape the bottom and gently bring it to the top, and continue this slowly until everything is well combined. This is called the cut and fold method. If you overmix at this stage, what happens is that you end up knocking out all the air that you have incorporated into your batter so far, and this is what results in a dense cake. So remember to only mix until you don't see any large flour pockets in your batter. Another thing to remember is to always preheat your oven. Time and temperature affect the texture and flavor of baked goods, and starting in a cold oven affects both of these variables. I always place my baking tray in the middle rack, and please remember that the time mentioned in your recipe is always indicative. It may take slightly longer or slightly shorter depending on your oven. So keep an eye, but don't keep opening the oven door, because every time you do that, you disturb the baking process. So these were my top baking tips that I'd like you to keep in mind the next time you enter the kitchen. And if you follow these, I promise every time you pull out a cake from your oven.
Okay guys, yung video na yon. So actually ngayon ko lang nabasa yung katulad ng nabanggit ko, yung StreamYard is delay siya minsan. So ang tanong ni Sheena Gail Kathleen Simpao is kung ano yung difference ng wax paper doon sa parchment paper. I don't know kung narinig ninyo yung diniscuss niya. Magkaiba yung wax paper doon sa parchment paper. Wax paper is para siyang glossy. For me, although parehas silang pwede mong gamitin sa baking. I mean, you can use it both. Pwede rin naman sa. Pero meron silang mga disadvantages and advantages. Pero para sa akin, is yung parchment paper is yung para siyang bond paper lang na manipis, na hindi siya masyadong glossy. And then yung wax paper naman is yung parang yung other side niya is makintab, madulas, and then yung other side naman niya is para siyang matte texture lang. So that is yung wax paper at saka parchment paper. Magkaiba. Wax paper is para siyang off-white, and then yung parchment paper naman is para siyang bond paper ang kulay. So, kulay white. And then, ang wax paper, mas mabilis siyang, for me, mas mabilis siyang masunog. Like for example, ako, kapag nagbe-bake ako ng tinapay para hindi mabilis dumumi or magkaroon ng mancha, kasi, o dumikit yung mga palaman ng aking mga tinapay. Kasi madalas kapag yung tinapay mo nilagyan, like for example, is asado roll. So yung asado mo is meron siyang asukal, ginisa mo siya sa bawang and sibuyas, and then you added some sugar just to add flavor and sweetness dun sa flavor niya. So ang ginagawa ko guys is nilalagyan ko ng wax paper yung aking or ng parchment paper yung aking baking sheet tray para just in case mabutas yung aking dough during the baking time, hindi lalabas or hindi malalagyan ng mancha yung aking baking sheet para doon sa susunod na item na ilalagay ko. Kasi kapag yung baking sheet mo, nagkaroon siya ng, lumabas yung feeling nung mismong asado roll mo, ang mangyayari doon is didikit siya doon sa baking sheet mo. Tapos, dahil sa sobrang nipis lang niya, mas mabilis siyang masunog, and then mangangamoy sunog yung oven mo. And then, kapag nangyari yon, i-absorb or ma-absorb ng ng mga item mo yung amoy na iyon. So, yun ang ginagawa ko. Pero na-observe ko lang during my baking time, mas mabilis masunog or mas mabilis lumutong yung papel ng wax paper kumbaga kumpara doon sa parchment paper. Mas mabilis siyang since para siyang off-white ang wax paper, mas mabilis siyang mag-dark brown. Tapos, kapag nag-dark brown siya, paulit-ulit ko siyang, like for example, nagbe-bake ako ng ube pandesal, paulit-ulit kong pinapasok sa oven using the same wax paper. Makikita mo guys, dito sa gilid ng ganito, mas mabilis siyang masunog. Tapos makikita mo kapag hinawakan mo siya malutong, napupunit siya. Compare doon sa parchment paper. Parchment paper is mas manipis siya kumpara sa wax paper. Pero, for me, mas matagal ko nare-recycle yung paggamit ng parchment paper kumpara doon sa wax paper. And then, isang tip lang guys, katulad nung nabanggit kanina nung nagbe-bake. So, it's really important guys, no? I-grease mo siya ng, ang iba, butter ang pinang-grease nila dito. Pero ako, hindi ko ina-advise na ipang-grease mo lang yung butter. Kasi butter is really expensive. Especially if you're going to use Anchor or Magnolia, mas mahal siya. So, kapag ginrease mo siya dito guys, or pinahid mo siya dito using your brush, it won't even added some flavor doon sa cakes mo. So instead of gagamitin ko yung gagamitin ko yung small amount na yon na pang brush lang ng aking pan, ilalagay ko na lang siya mismo doon sa butter mixtures ko. So ang for me kapag butter or margarine ang ginamit mo na pang wax dito, it's okay rin naman. Pero since flavored siya, meron siyang milk, meron siyang konting sugar, and then mas mabilis siyang masunog kumpara sa fewer fats, like for example is shortening or lard, kasi it won't even added some flavor kapag naglagay ka dito. So ngayon, paano sir kapag wala po akong wax paper or wala akong parchment paper? So ano yung posible na po pwede kong gamitin aside from that? Ang sabi ni So, how about if you don't even have your wax paper or parchment paper? So, for ako guys, kapag wala akong wax paper or parchment paper, ang ginagamit ko is regular bond paper. So, yung mga hindi ko pa nagamit. Kasi like for example, gumamit ka ng bond paper na meron siyang sulat na pentel pen. Ganito, or ball pen. Especially kung ang ball pen na ginamit mo is kulay blue. And then, nag-bake ka kunwari ng vanilla cake. And then, ginamit mo yung merong kang sulat ng pentel pen. Definitely, guys, kung ano yung nakasulat doon sa papel na ginamit mo or bond paper, matatransfer siya doon sa mismong cake mo, yung color niya. So, ako ang ginagamit ko, guys, is yung clear or yung walang sulat na bond paper. Or kung meron kang gustong i-recycle na bond paper, ang gagamitin mo is yung hindi, ito yung side na meron sulat, ang gagamitin mo is yung other side niya or other piece niya. And then, gugupitin mo siya, same kung paano mo ginipit yung wax paper mo, and then pwede mo siyang gamitin. It's the same, guys. Mas mabilis lang siyang mapunit, pero pag tinanggal mo siya after the baking time, parehas lang naman ang procedure niya. Hindi mo na marirecycle katulad ng parchment paper or ng baking paper. So, just in case lang na wala kang parchment paper or baking paper, shortening po. For me, mas okay yung shortening. Kasi ang shortening is wala siyang smell, wala siyang flavor kasi it's made of vegetable oil. Pero ang lard kasi is made of animal fats. Kaya meron siyang konting something na flavored. Ngayon, like for example, ang shortening, makikita nyo, pound siya, buo siya, and then super white. And then kapag tinunaw mo yan or naka-absorb siya ng init, like for example, nilagay mo sa kawali or pan, makikita mo magiging liquid yan. Similar doon sa oil na ginagamit ninyo sa bahay. Pero kapag lumamig yon, hindi na siya babalik doon sa original na kulay niya and texture niya. Magkaibang-magkaiba. Okay, like for example, yung mga bochi na Chinese bochi na nakikita nyo sa mga chowking, yung bochi na meron palaman na munggo sa loob. So, mas prepared namin, guys, na gumamit ng lard. Kasi lard is flavored siya with the animal fats. Kaya kapag pinirito mo yung bochi doon, mas masarap siya tsaka mas malinamnam. Alright? Yes, Rafael Rueda, akong ginagamit ko is shortening. Mas mura siya, mas plain lang, at mas maiiwasan mong masusunog yung textures ng mga cakes mo. Again guys, if you have some questions, don't hesitate to question. Sir, yung wax paper and parchment paper, parehas lang po ba? So yun, nasagot ko na siya. So bagal po ng net, sorry. Okay, I understand. So hoping makahabol ka and then makita mo yung mga ibang videos na pag-uusapan namin. And then guys, hindi lang naman ako yung po pwedeng mag-comment dito. If you want to share, then pwede rin naman. Alright? So let's move on doon sa ating next tutorial video. So let's move on guys doon sa mga basic tip kung paano naman yung paggamit ng mga icing tip. So this one is really important guys. Minsan, bakit hindi ko nakuha yung design na ganito considering I have my tip na ginamit. So yung bawat tip na is meron silang mga iba-ibang purpose. Hindi sila pwedeng, pwede mong gamitin kahit sa anong design, pero kung magagawa ka ng mga specific design guys, is meron silang mga iba-ibang gamit. So it's really important guys. Oh, hold on. Bakit napunta ako sa Shopee? So it's really important guys na ma-follow mo yung ganitong instruction. So this one guys. So since napunta na ako sa Shopee, let's talk about this one. So makikita mo guys, oh, sobrang maliit siya. Hindi mo siya makikita. Hold on. Tatanggalin natin to. Okay, let's watch this one guys. So ito guys, ginawa rin namin. Hold on, alisin ko lang yung... This one guys is, I always watch to this guy. I always watch sa baker na to. Sometimes it's a little bit messy, sometimes it's a little bit rude, pero napakagaling niya and very napaka-creative niya. Hindi ibig sabihin guys, nagbe-bake ka na, hindi ka na manunod ng mga ibang videos. Ako nanonood pa rin ako sa mga videos kasi they have different techniques and they have a lot of materials to experiment and to do something na para ma-discover nila yung mga bagay-bagay. No, tama. Tama, Rueda. So, lagi ko pinapanood to. Pero, this one is, hihingi lang ako ng pamahin, guys. No? But I really wanted to share to you yung video na to. Pero, hindi lang kasi siya nakadamit, naka-apron lang siya. So, let's watch yung paggawa niya ng mga piping lines. So, ito ginawa rin namin siya before sa CCA. So, all you have to do is mag-print ka lang ng mga lines and then yun yung mga susundan natin. So, let's watch this one.
So what we're going to start with is a 104 tip. And this is a really good tip because it creates like little ruffles. So if you've seen my Nutella Eclair video, this is the exact tip I used. And I've got a brilliant hack for you, which is going to help you throughout this whole process. And the secret is paper, all right? Don't waste 60 cupcakes to practice piping because it takes a lot of time and it's also really expensive. All you need to do to practice your piping is use a piece of paper. So what we're going to do to practice our ruffles is I've drawn a couple lines. And I'm going to pipe in between these lines. Then when I'm done, I can just throw that away. And all you need is buttercream. So I've got some buttercream here, which I made, just America buttercream. You can also just buy ready-made buttercream from the store. It's just a really good way to practice your piping. It's how I started learning. I literally just printed off loads of paper, drew some shapes, and then just sat there for like 10 minutes just going da, 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 da. So fill up your piping bag with your buttercream and then we're going to start this piping technique. Right, so the ruffle. What you need to do for this is you need to make sure that the fat end of your tip is facing down and the thin end is facing up. That is how you get the ruffle. If it's the other way around, it's not going to work. And like I said, I've drawn some lines here. They just need to be kind of relatively thin, however wide you want your ruffle to be. And we're going to take our piping bag and we're going to hold this at about 30 degrees. So not quite 45, probably about 30 degrees. And we apply even pressure and we're going to take this and we're going to start at one end of the line we're going to go all the way back and then just keep zigzagging it. You see what we're doing? Zig, zag, zig, to left, to right, and literally it will just stack up perfectly for you. The piping tip will do all the work. Okay, so there we go. I've done practicing my 5. Some of them weren't very good. Some of them got better as I went along. And that is the beauty of this. I've just made 5 different lines. I got a little bit better as I went along. And now I know how to use a ruffle tip. And the beauty of this is that you can do ruffles up the side of a cake. You can pipe the top of an eclair, just like I've done. And this is a brilliant little technique to learn. So that is technique number 1. And now we're going to move on to piping tip number 2. Numero dos. This is a French tip, and by far my favorite tip. And this was the first one that I just basically started using when I was cake decorating, because it's just so pretty and so easy to use. I'm going to teach you 2 different techniques for this. We're going to do like a little dollop, and we're also going to do this little seashell effect, which is really cool. So I'm going to throw this into a piping bag, and again, it's got more buttercream. You can use ready-made, you can make your own, whatever you fancy. Now, for the French tip, I have 2 guides for me to decorate on. And the first one I'm going to use is lines. The idea of a line is just to make sure we're keeping it straight and we're making sure our kind of wrist is in the same place every single time. And what we're going to start off with is just a French tip, like a dollop, a star. And this is really good for decorating the top of a cake. If you've ever seen my cakes, if I run out of an idea, I just go tack, 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 all around the top with the French tip, because I have no idea what else to do, and this is a really good way. So we're going to take our piping bag, we're going to hold it vertically, okay? So not at an angle, not that way, hold it completely vertical, and with your right hand, you're going to apply even pressure. You're going to hold it gently with your left, then you're going to hold it just a little bit above the line or where you're piping, and you're going to squeeze down and then pick up. And you'll see what you're left with is this cute little kind of peaky star-looking thing. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm going to do it a little bit slower so that you can see it again. So apply even pressure just until you get a little ball at the bottom, and then pick up. And you'll see you're left with this lovely little peak. And we're going to do it again. So we're going to apply even pressure, get a little ball, pick up. Apply even pressure, get a little ball, pick up. And that's your little peaky French star. Really, really simple. I'm not even going to practice that again because I think I nailed it first time. Right? Now, number 2, I've done this decoration on my watercolor effect cake. And what it is like a seashell. So you take this piping tip and you kind of pipe a little dollop, almost like that, but then you flick it down. And what that does, it leaves this kind of ridged effect, which you'll see. But I'm going to explain to you now. So you want to take your piping bag, and again, what we're going to do, we're going to do this at an angle. So instead of doing it vertically, we're going to take it about 30 degrees again, and we're going to pipe down like this, and then pull down with our tip. So you're almost creating this little bump. So pipe at a bit of an angle, pull down. Pipe at an angle, pull down. Pipe at an angle, pull down. And you see, when you connect the dots, it just leaves this little kind of seashell effect. And now, what you're left with is 2 really impressive little designs.
Okay guys, yung unang ginawa niya is yung parang dot, dot, dot. So makikita mo yung tip na yan is para siyang, yung tip na yan is nakaikot siya na parang zigzag lang. So yung buong butas ng tip mo is para siyang zigzag na nakapaikot doon sa mismong tip. And then, kung nakita ninyo, yung unang ginawa niya is yung parang dot lang. And then, yun din, yung tip na yan din ang ginagamit namin para doon sa cactus. I don't know kung nakakita na kayo ng mga cupcake cactus. So, ipipress mo lang yun, yung tip na yan, and then depende yung laki na gusto mo. And then, after that, gagamit ka lang ng parchment paper or wax paper ulit. All you have to do is i-fold lang ulit. And then, gawin nyo lang na parang ganito siya. Tapos, this one, guys. So, this one. And then, maglagay kayo ng white icing. Like, for example, ang ginamit mo doon na icing is kulay green, color green. And then, maglalagay ka lang ng white na icing dito. And then, after that, guys, all you have to do is i-fold mo lang to. I-fold mo lang yung pinakadulo ng parchment paper mo para hindi lumabas yung icing. And then, bubutasan mo lang ng maliit doon. And then, once na pinrest mo, yung icing na gano'n, depende doon sa laki na gusto mo. And then, makakagawa na tayo ng cactus. So, maglalagay ngayon tayo ng mga dot na white para kunwari, ito yung pinaka-flower ng cactus mo. Or, kung like, for example, ang gusto mo is maglagay ka ng color red or color pink, na icing, and then yun yung magiging dot ng mga cactus mo, and then para siyang flowers ng cactus mo. And then yung pangalawang ginawa niya is, and then ang unang paghawak mo dyan guys is ganito siya. Kapag gusto mo yung icing mo is even yung ikot niya and then yung shape niya, kailangan diretso lang yung hawak mo. So ito yung icing bag mo, ito yung kamay mo, and then ito kunwari yung cake mo. Ito kunwari yung cake mo. So ang paggamit mo diyan is, ang pagpindot mo is diretso lang siya. And then yung paglabas ng icing mo guys, hindi mo siya hihintayin. Hindi mo hihintayin na lumabas yung icing mo kasi hindi yan lalabas. So yung puwersa, dami at portion ng icing na lalabas doon sa piping bag mo at saka doon sa tip mo is depende doon sa pagpindot mo dito sa daliri mo or sa kamay mo. So, like for example, this one. So, makikita mo, ito yung kunwari yung icing mo. So, makikita mo yung dami, depende doon sa pag-pipe mo dito sa kamay mo dito. So, this one. And then, most of the time, guys, ako, yung isang kamay ko, kunwari, ito yung cake mo, no? Ganyan ang cake mo. And then, ito yung hawak ko ng icing ko. And then, yung puwersa at dami ng icing na lumalabas is nanggagaling siya dito sa mga daliri ko na to. And then, makikita mo guys, itong isang kamay ko na to, itong kamay ko na to, ito yung nag-a-assist doon sa pag-ikot ng icing mo. So, like for example, I'm doing a swirl na icing. So, kapag isang kamay lang ang ginagamit ko, pwedeng dot lang ang magagawa ko katulad ng ginawa niya. Pero kung swirl ang gagamitin ko, kakailanganin ko hindi yung buong daliri mo, hindi yung buong palad mo or yung buong 5 daliri mo sa kabilang kamay mo. Kung hindi ako minsan, eto lang guys, etong pinaka-tip lang na to. Etong isang daliri ko lang na to. Or depende sa inyo kung anong gusto mong gamitin. Pero most of the time ako, it's a bad sign, pero ito yung madalas na, it's a bad sign na finger, pero ito yung madalas na ginagamit ko. So ito yung nag-a-assist kapag gumagawa ako ng swirl. So ina-assist ko yung pag-ikot ng icing ko. Same with this one, guys. So, tapos, ang nangyayari, madalas, kapag nag-swipe ka ng icing, ang nangyayari, yung pinakadulo niya, minsan umahaba siya, and then, para siyang panipis na panipis, and then, bumabaloktot siya na gano'n. Kasi kapag patapos na yung icing mo, depende dun sa laki na gusto mo, kapag pinipe mo siya na ganyan, bago mo siya hilain, guys, ihinto mo na yung lumipad. Okay. Kunwari, ito yung cake mo. And then, ito na yung icing mo. Nalagyan mo na ng icing, guys. Bago mo hilain na pataas yung piping bag mo, kailangan i-stop mo na yung pagpipress mo ng laman ng icing. Kasi kapag inihila mo siya and then still continuous pa rin yung pagpipress mo nito, continuous pa rin yung paglabas ng icing mo. That's why, minsan, makikita mo, meron siyang swirl and then, meron siyang naka-curl na ganon. So, hindi perfect yung pagkakaswirl nung cake mo. So, ang gagawin mo is, kung naswirl mo na yung cake mo, meron na siyang nakapaikot na icing na ganyan. And then, ang gagawin mo lang is, itutusok mo ng konti yung icing bag mo o yung tip mo dun sa cake mo. And then, stop pressing dito. Stop pressing dito. And then, after that, kapag tinusok mo ng konti yung piping, yung tip mo at saka piping bag mo doon sa laman ng icing mo, and then, at saka mo siya hilain, pataas ng diretso at mabilis. Ganun lang, guys. Kasi para maputol siya. Kasi kapag ang nangyari dito is hinila mo siya pataas ng mabagal, ang tendency nito is yung icing mo, sasama siya sa'yo ng mabagal at pataas. Tapos, kapag hindi na niya nakayanan yung pressure para tumayo yung icing mo, kaya bumabagsak siya and then nagkakaroon ng sablay yung mga swirl icing mo. So, yun ang isang technique na kailangan ninyong matutunan. And then, kung magsuswirl ka, and then, like for example, gagawa ka ng swirl na rose na icing. Ang pag-ikot mo dyan, ang unang pag-plot mo is diretso siya, and then, iikot mo siya, ang kamay mo is nagiging siyang 24 hours clock. So, umiikot siya na paganyan. So, kapag sinwirl mo siya, iniikot mo din siya. Hindi iikot mag-isa yung icing. So, yung design mo ng icing is nakadepende siya doon sa pag-ikot mo ng kamay mo. Maraming mga bakers na nakakapag-bake ng iba-iba, masasarap na cake, pero hindi lahat ng bakers is nakakapag-design. Because limited lamang guys. I mean, hindi lahat ng bakers is nakakapag-design. And it takes time bago mo matutunan yung pagpapipe ng icing. Kasi kailangan malaman mo muna at makontrol mo muna yung pagpapipe mo sa kamay mo and then yung pag-move ng kamay mo. So, ito lang ang nag-move guys. Ito lang siya. So, ito lang yung namumove mo. So, tapos, every time na minove mo siya, meron kang pinipress. So, depende dun sa pagpipress mo. So, kaya yun ang nangyayari sa minsan. And then, kapag gumagawa ka ng dot, katulad nung ginawa nung una niya, ang bili niya is kailangan diretso siya kasi para pantay yung pagkakashape niya. Ngayon, kung nakatabingi yung ginawa nyo guys, definitely, mataas siya sa kabilang side, mababa siya sa kabilang side. And then, yung second na ginawa niya is yung mga shell. Kung like, for example, ang team mo is dagat, ayan, pwede mo siyang gawin. And then, yung ginagawa niya ngayon is yung mga lining sa gilid ng cake. Like, for example, nagpa-plansya ka ng icing. Yung pinlansya mo ng icing to, dapat flat na flat siya. Minsan, hindi natin na-perfect yung dito sa gilid na to. Or minsan yung dito sa ilalim na ganito. So, yan yung mga procedure na po pwedeng yung i-apply. So, yung mga lining dito sa gilid na to, guys. Yun ang po pwede natin gawin. And then, especially, also dito sa gilid na to. So, bakit tayo naglalagay ng mga lining? It added design, it added height, and then it added attraction. So, dito naman sa baba, guys, dito sa baba, bakit tayo naglalagay ng mga lining? Considering, example is, ito yung board mo, ito yung board cake mo, and then, ito yung mismong cake mo. And then, minsan madalas makikita mo, kahit sa mga red ribbon or Goldilocks, meron pa rin silang lining na icing dito sa ilalim. Kasi it added design and it added volume dun sa size ng cake mo. Alright? So again, if you have some questions, don't forget to ask questions, sir. Okay. Sabi ni Sheena, is paano daw yung icing na dalawa ang kulay? Okay, very good questions. Actually, Sheena, wait lang. Actually, meron piping bag na naka-design na dalawa ang butas. Piping bag, assuming ito yung piping bag mo, plastic, piping bag na disposable. Assuming ito siya. Makikita mo siya sa loob, meron siyang division. Meron siyang division na dalawa. Ang disadvantage lang nito, hindi ka pwedeng maglagay ng, meron siyang, hold on, kukunin ko yung sample ko, Sheena, para hindi ka mahirapan. Okay, this one is very good question, Sheena. Very, very good questions. Okay, normally, ito yung piping bag mo, di ba? Ito yung disposable piping bag mo. And then, ako, most of the time, guys, hindi na ako gumagamit nung Diroscas na bilog na kulay white dito para i-connect mo yung piping bag mo. Yung tip mo. Kasi, ang kagandahan lang naman nung isang set na piping bag, na merong kulay white dito, ang kagandahan lang doon is anytime pwede kang magpalit ng baking tip mo. Pwede kang magpalit kung anong design na gusto mo na hindi mo na kailangan tanggalin yung laman nito. So ako ang ginagawa ko minsan sa sobrang tamad ko na, binubutas ko na lang dito sa gilid na to, and then pinapasok ko dito yung tip. Tapos ilalabas siya dito. So isang gamitan lang siya. Pero kung meron kayong Diroscas na handle ng tip dito, guys, pwede kang magpalit kahit ano. So, ito yung sinasabi ko sa iyo, isang butas lang siya na isang kulay na icing. Pero yung sinasabi ni kanina ni Sheena is, sir, paano kung yung dalawang kulay? Kasi merong piping bag na meron na siyang division. So, this one is one division and then meron siyang division sa gitna. So look at this one guys, 3 piraso siya. So pwede akong maglagay ng color white dito and then color red dito sa gitna, and then meron siyang plastic na division. Ayan. Kaya nga, kapag binutas ko siya, 2 icing na siya. Ayun. So ulitin ko lang Sheena. So ayan, meron kang nabibili na piping bag na meron na siyang division sa gitna. Ito. So pag naglagay, ito yung kulay red na pwede mo lagyan, and then makikita mo meron siyang plastic sa gitna na division. And then dito sa other side, yung color red. Ngayon, sir, wala kaming makitang ganyan, pero we really wanted to make icing na color white at saka, 2 color sa isang piping bag. So ang gagawin natin guys is, pwede ka ngayon maglagay ng icing sa mga wax paper mo, like for example, color red to. Lalagyan mo siya ng color red, and then all you have to do is, and then red. Tapos gumawa ka pa ulit ng isang ganito, color green naman siya kunwari. And then ang gagawin mo lang is ipapasok mo siya ng pareho dito sa loob ng wax paper mo. So let's make it. So, meron akong 2 na, so assuming this one guys, ito yung isang parchment paper ko na meron akong color red na icing. And then the other one is meron akong color green na icing. So, since ang piping bag disposable ko is wala ako nung katulad dito na meron division, isang single lang siya. So, ang gagawin ko guys is ipapasok ko yung parchment paper ko na merong lamang icing na color red, and then, yung isang parchment paper ko na merong color green sa loob ng aking wax paper. So, same this one, guys. So, ipapasok mo siyang ganyan, assuming ito may tip na siya, and then, gugupitin mo lang siya. Tapos, guys, makikita mo, kapag pinipe mo yan, lalabas yung 2 two-tone color mo. So, yun. Then, sir, paano naman kapag yung icing ko is, yung, like for example, yung rose na swirl is meron siya doon sa pinakagilid na parang line lang. Like for example, gumawa ako ng color pink na rose. And then gusto ko yung pinakadulo o yung pinakatip ng mga petals ng rose ko is meron siyang parang line na red lang. Pero hindi siya nakahalo doon sa mismong tip. Okay, I will show it to you. Nasaan ba yung whiteboard? I can't see my whiteboard. Anyway, para siyang ganito guys. Nakitabi siguro ni Manang Det na naman. So this one guys is assuming guys na meron kang isang petal ng rose. Ayan, kunwari color pink siya. And then, ang gusto mo, yung pinaka-edge niya is makapal na meron siyang color red. Iba yung kulay niya. So, this one. Kunwari, ito yung isang petal lang ng rose mo. So, ito, kulay pink siya, pero yung pinakagilid niya is parang color red siya. So, ang gagawin mo lang is, meron kang empty na piping bag, and then, kakailanganin mo lang siya ng brush paint. Yung brush na ginagamit sa mga pag-paint. So, make sure na hindi mo siya ginamit sa pang-color painting. Kasi, kung bibili ka ng ganyan, pwede mo lang siyang gamitin for food coloring. Hindi yung, yung mga coloring for painting. So, meron kang empty plastic, and then, kuha ka lang ng food coloring na gel, and then i-dip mo lang doon yung brush mo, yung maliit na brush lang. And then, iba-brush mo lang yung piping bag mo sa loob. Iba-brush mo lang siya dito mismo sa gilid na to, guys. Ayan. So, kung ito yung gilid, ipapasok mo yung brush, and then iba-brush mo yung food coloring, kailangan medyo makapal siya dito sa loob na yan, sa gilid na yan. And then, after that, kapag na-brush mo na siya, doon ka maglalagay ngayon ng other color na icing doon sa loob ng piping bag mo. And then, yan guys, i-flat mo lang siya na ganyan, and then i-start mo na siyang i-pipe. So makikita mo, kung yung icing mo is color pink siya, and then yung gilid ng swirl mo is meron siyang other color. So naka-line lang siya na ganyan. Make sure na hindi mo siya masyadong ginagalaw kasi or else yung food color na binrush mo dito sa gilid is magmi-mix siya doon sa mismong main color ng icing mo. Ang disadvantage lang nito guys, hindi mo na siya magagamit for your second set. Kailangan gumamit ka ulit ng susunod ng another set of piping bag. Okay, this one is disposable pero hindi ko siya tinatapon after I use it. So ang ginagawa ko is magpapakulo lang ako ng tubig and then after that, ilalagay ko sa palanggana yung hot water and then ididip ko lang sila doon. Ibababad ko lang doon. Hindi naman sila masisira, guys. Or, minsan sinasabon ko ng Joy para mawala yung fats. And then after that, nilulubog ko sila sa hot water. Then, yun, papatuyin mo siya and then pupunasan mo lang ng malinis na basahan tapos amuyin mo kung hindi siya amoy sabon. So, yun na guys, hindi mo siya dapat itapon. Kasi yung small na ganito is for about 8 pesos, 5 pesos to 8 pesos, parang ganun siya. Ayan. So yun yung mga techniques doon sa iba. So let's continue. Again, if you have some questions, sir, kindly please drop your questions. Then, mababasa ko rin siya. Thank you for your questions, Sheena. So let's continue watching this one.
And here we have a gorgeous 8-inch chocolate decadent crumb-coated cake that we now need to decorate. So I've drawn a circle to pretend for a cake. And I'm going to do half of it with a little dot, dot, dot. And I'm going to do the other half of the seashell. And this is just really good practice to handle angles. So you go from a straight line to a round circle and you practice that way. So I'm going to take it again and I'm going to do the little dollops. I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to pipe down, pick up. And I'm just going to go all the way around doing this little dollops. And this is really good because it kind of gives you a bit of muscle memory on how to handle angles rather than just doing a straight line. So again, what I'm practicing here is kind of trying to stick to this line. So instead of dragging it back straight, I'm dragging the piping tip back a little bit of an angle so it matches that curve. So now what you've learned is you've learned a little dollop, you've learned the seashell, you've taken it from the straight line, and then you've been able to practice it on a round cake. So again, a really good way to master the technique of how to use a French tip. Start practicing on a little line, then practice on a circle, and voila, boom. Look at what you got. All right, let's go to piping tip numero 3, or drop it. So the third tip we're going to use is a 1M tip. And this is a great tip for me because this is when I kind of started to explore flowers, because this is a brilliant piping tip for making rose decorations on.
Okay guys, ito yung tip na ulitin natin para makita ninyo. Ayan yung tip guys na makakagawa ka ng mga sorted flowers. So, iba-iba yung function ng mga tips. So, it's really important guys na ma-memorize nyo itong mga to. So, ulitin natin siya.
So the third tip we're going to use is a 1M tip. And this is a great tip for me because this is when I kind of started to explore flowers, because this is a brilliant piping tip for making rose decorations on top of cupcakes. You'll see because I'm going to show you. And I'm also going to show you another technique. And we're going to use the line paper again. So you want to take your paper, you want to draw a couple circles, you want to draw a couple lines, and then we're going to get into our technique. So the first technique with the 1M tip is a bit of a zigzag technique. I don't really know what to call it, but you'll see when I do it. And it's really good for decorating the edge of a cake or the outside of a cookie, something like that. And what we're going to do is, again, right hand at the top, holding it, which is going to apply even pressure. And we're going to use our left hand as a bit of a guide. We're going to hold the piping tip at about a 40-degree angle. This is a bit precise, but you kind of get what I'm doing. And we're going to squeeze down like this, and we're going to flick across. And then we're going to go to the right-hand side of that. We're going to squeeze and flick across. And then we're going to squeeze and flick, squeeze and flick. And what you're left with is this kind of crisscross pattern. Okay, so we've done our crisscross, we've done our ta-ta-ta. That was pretty simple, though. It was just like ta-ta-ta. But what we want to do now is the main event, the party, the showstopper, which is the rose. And this is brilliant for the top of cupcakes. It's one of my favorite things to do. And this one does take a bit of practice. The other ones you can kind of nail pretty quickly. This one, you're going to need to do it, I reckon, like 4, 5, 6 times maybe. And we're going to use the 1M tip like before, and we're going to hold our piping bag vertically, all right? And we're going to start by piping in the center, and we're just going to work in an anti-clockwise motion, pulling the piping bag out, whipping off the end until we have the rose, all right? So let's watch me do it, and I will explain it again. So squeeze into the center and then rotate around, 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 and then just whip off. And then we're going to do another one. And it's all about muscle memory. So as soon as you feel the motion, the speed, and you get it right, just keep doing that same thing. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to squeeze down. I'm going to go around that bud in the center. I'm going to keep working it, never stop piping, whip. And there you have it. That is your rose. See, I still need to practice. That's not perfect. I still need to do some work. So I'm going to get more circles and just keep pound it. But that's the 2 designs with the 1M tip. Really, really simple. Now,
Okay guys, nakita ninyo yung pag-ikot ng flowers niya. Inikot niya na pag ganito guys, papasok. Ang mangyayari nun guys, yung mismong petals yung mismong swirl ng roses is tumitiklop siya papaloob. Kapag ang ikot mo is pag ganito siya, pag ganito siya. Pag ang ikot mo is papasok siya sa'yo. Pag ang ikot is papasok siya sa'yo, ang tendency, yung swirl na rose mo is magtutupi siya papaloob. Papaloob yung mga swirl niya. Ngayon, that is papasok sa iyo. Ngayon, kung ang ikot ng kamay mo is palabas siya sa iyo, opposite kanina, palabas, makikita mo yung petals o yung swirl petal ng rose mo is nakapalabas naman siya. So, magkaiba yung result niya kapag papasok at saka pagpalabas yung ikot ng kamay mo. So, yun yung dapat ninyong tandaan. Experiment ninyo guys. Bawat tip, hindi yung isang ikot, hindi lang yung same ikot ang procedure na titignan ninyo. Tignan nyo doon sa opposite na ikot niya, then you can create different shapes and style na po pwede nyong matutunan. Alright?
Tip number 4. This is a round nozzle tip. This is like the most basic of tips, but you can get creative with this too, and I'm going to show you 2 different techniques, which are quite similar.
Yes, this one yung tip niya, butas lang siya guys, as in wala siyang design, as in flat na butas lang ang tip niya. Pero ang dami mong magagawa.
I'm going to use my line paper again. So I'm going to take my piping bag, hold it vertically. We're going to squeeze down and then up. We're going to squeeze down and pull up. And the key to this is speed. If you do it too slowly, what will happen is you won't get the nice little peak. And that is how you get the perfect little peak. It's all about the speed. It's all about when you're doing buttercream, you want to be quite quick. And that's great if you're doing French meringue kisses, something like that to decorate a cake. Absolutely brilliant technique. Now, the second technique with this is a good one because it's sort of similar to the seashell. What we're going to do is the same kind of pipe and pull technique. And this is really good for decorating the outside of a cake. Once you see it, you'll recognize it. It's been done on a lot of different cakes before. But we're going to take our piping bag, again, at kind of an angle. So not vertical, we're going to take it at an angle. We're going to pipe steady and then pull down. And then we're going to pipe steady and pull down. And you'll see what you're left with is this almost lovely beaded looking effect. Boom, like that. And the key with that little whip one is the speed. So when you're piping these, you can't be indecisive. So if you're like piping and then you kind of stop and then you try and pull it back, it's just not going to work. So you've got to always keep constant pressure on your hand. Pipe, pull back, and you'll see this is such a lovely kind of, what's the word? It's like a scaled effect. And you've seen that. You must have seen it on the internet, on the side of cakes. So you just do it. Instead of doing it horizontally, you do it on the side of a cake and you go pat, whip, and then you get this lovely kind of decal effect. All right, I've got one more for you because I forgot to do it earlier. It's number 7. I've only done 6, so let me go get that one and then we'll do number 7. Now, earlier when we used the 104 tip, I showed you the zigzag action. I forgot to show you the other one, the 7th one. So sorry, I remembered now. But earlier I said, use the thin top at the top, use the thin part at the top, fat at the bottom, flip it over. We're going to do it the other way. And we're going to do basically like a sunflower design. This is a really good design for cookies, Not so good for cakes because it's a little bit smaller and a little bit fiddlier. So what I'm going to do is hold my piping bag vertically. I'm going to pipe onto a circle here. And we're literally going to do the kind of push-pull technique again. So we're going to pipe down and then pull the buttercream. So it's the same thing we do for all the others. We just do a little bit of pressure and then pull down. A little bit of pressure, pull down. A little bit of pressure, pull down. You get it. Really simple. Now, once you're done piping that, what you're left with is this kind of outline of a flower. And the middle's a little bit ugly because that's where you kind of joined all the dots. So you want to fill that in with a little bit of chopped chocolate, or you could put other bits on top. But that's just how you create the outside of the sunflower. And that is it. Look how many we've created. Let me get them all over here so we can look at them beautifully. Come, my babies. Here we go.
All right, let's move
And
to
voila!
other video, guys.
Look at this. Okay, it's going to look...
So this one is let's wait. Ads lang. Hold on. Mhm. So iba-iba yung gamit mo, guys. Katulad nito, guys, you have to memorize yung mga shape ng mga you have to invest din to create different design. So that is a swirl. Yung tinatawag ko, that is a swirl. That is the dot. Mga dotches lang, guys. Ayan. Dotches is you can create. Simple procedure you can create. Ayan. Yung heart, that is heart. Ayan, yung mga shell. That is rose, guys. See, napaka-basic lang but you can create something amazing. That is Sundae ice cream swirl. Sundae ice cream swirl. That is the, basic, guys. Basic na mga flowers. See? Basta playful ka lang sa mga tip. Kahit 2 or 3 tip lang meron ka, you can create something. See? This one is tusok-tusok. Tusok-tusok lang, guys. Ayan yung, tingnan mo yung paghila niya. Yan yung sinasabi ko, guys. Once you press, pag hinila mo na siya, you have to stop pressing yung icing or else sasama pa rin yung icing kapag tinanggal mo siya. So this one is dahon. Dahon na leaves. Dahon na tip. No? Tingnan nyo kung paano niya hilahin yung piping bag. And then meron siyang pahiga, meron siyang pataas kasi depende doon sa structure na gusto ninyong gawin. Kung gusto ninyong nakababa siya, so ang gagawin mo lang is ipapipe mong pababa yung, like for example, gusto mo yung dahon mo is pababa siya na pa-curl, ang gagawin mo is ipapipe mo siya and then i-move mo yung kamay mo na pa-swirl din. Pababa din, pa-curl. No? Look at this one, guys. Again, this one is dahon. And then you can create different leaves. Ayun, nakita nyo, pinapump lang niya and then hihilayin niya and then pwede na siya. This one is yung ginagamit for basket na tip. Flat siya na meron siyang zigzag. Ayan. Tingnan nyo, guys, yung pang basket is you can also make different design. Ayan, depende pa rin, guys, sa pag-move ng inyong mga daliri. And then, depende sa galaw ng kamay ninyo, guys. You must have to be creative and try to experiment yung iba't ibang moves and formation ng mga icing mo. Okay, this one is rose. So, kailangan mo dito is a small turntable, guys, to create rose. Hindi mo na siya kailangan i-transfer pa. Ayan, guys, right? See? Napakaganda nila. So, let's see the other videos naman. So, it's just a flowers then, guys. Let's wait for the icing. For the advertisement. Okay, let's skip.
We're going to make them out of royal icing, but you can transfer these skills and use them with buttercream as well. But primarily, these are the ones that I make for my cookies. So these are the tips that I'll be using today. Star tips, open and close, and some petal tips. So I'll be showing you the slight differences between some of them and the bigger difference between the others. And so if you have some of these tips, you don't necessarily need one or the other. I'll show you an example of all of them so you can see what you have. And we're also going to be using a flower nail today to make a rose. So if you have one of those, great. If not, you can always pick one up at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. They're pretty cheap.
This one is yung ginagamit
and it's always
sa
a good deal
paggawa
to
ng
have in your
rose.
kitchen. So the first flower we're going to do today is a rosette. So we're going to need really stiff royal icing. You can see here I'm playing with it and it's keeping its shape. All the little moves I'm making, it holds its shape. So that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to put it in my bag here and get ready to go. But before I do that, I'm going to start massaging my bag. And the reason I do that is just to get all the air bubbles out. You can see when I have my bag here, there's a lot of air pockets in here. And when you're piping flowers, you don't really want those in there. So I sort of open my bag and I just sort of squish the icing together so that the air gets pushed out the top of the bag. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the less bubbles you have, the better your flowers will look. So we're going to do some smaller rosettes first. So you can see I have two tips here, an open star tip and a closed star tip. So I'm using Wilton tip number 21 and Wilton tip number 30, just so you guys know, but you can roughly use the same, bigger, a little bit bigger and smaller. So here I'm just going to make sure that I cut my bag about halfway up the tip. If you cut it too small, your bag's going to interfere with sort of the end of the tip where the shape forms. So you don't want to do it too small or too big. I'm just cutting a little hole, let the air out, and then I'm going to squish my bag further just to get a nice, clean, straight cut. I'm going to cut again with a seam in the middle. It's not a big deal because we do have a tip, but just makes for a cleaner cut in the bag. I'm going to cut my second bag here. Again, this one, the tip is going to go inside this bag. So I just want to make sure that I'm going to cut it big enough so that the bag is not going to be over top of the opening of the tip because we want those nice clean lines to make the flower. So if you notice here, I'm actually using two bags. I like to double bag my icing. Reason being, if I want to switch tips or colors for my tips, it's easy to just take that second bag of icing out and I have a new bag. Here you can see my bag is not covering any part of the tip there at the bottom where it's open, and we're good to go. So I'm going to slide my bag of icing in there. And again, if I want to switch colors or switch tips, it's really easy to just take my icing out and switch up the tip or switch up the color and use that tip for another color. So we're just going to push it out, make sure you can see what the shape is. I'm using the open star tip. So again, this is Wilton tip number 21. You can go slightly bigger or smaller, but this is a good tip for cookies that I like. And so I'm just going to show you here on a piece of parchment paper. I want to hold my bag perpendicular to the cookie or the paper, not on an angle, and then just push out slightly. So this is a very simple flower. I basically just perpendicular to the surface and just pushing pressure out and then letting go of the pressure and slightly pushing up. So you can see here, if my tip is sort of off to the side, my flower kind of goes up to the side. I just want to clean the tip up in between and start over again because sometimes you tend to build icing.
Yes guys,
So
it's really important na linisin ninyo lagi ng tissue yung tip ninyo. Kasi kapag merong icing na nakabarad doon guys, ang mangyayari is sumasablay siya.
So you can see here, again, I'm going to wipe off my tip to start a new flower. So start clean.
Rose.
And again, I'm going to put pressure perpendicular, and I sort of overlap the center as I do the flower. It's not sticking too well right now because it's parchment paper, so it's kind of turning as I go, but on a cookie that's iced, it'll stick a lot better. Here, we're going the other way, you can see. Doesn't really matter if you go, clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever you feel comfortable with. So now I'm going to switch the tips out, and I'm going to put the tip number 30 in, which is the closed star tip. So it's kind of the rounded star. And I just want to show you guys what the difference is. So there's not too much of a difference here. But I just want to show you just so you guys know. And obviously the bigger your tip is, the bigger your flower is going to be. The smaller your tip is, the smaller your flower is going to be. Open and closed tip is just a slight difference. I probably can't tell on a cookie which one they've used, but just so you guys know, like I said, if you have one and not the other, it's not the end of the world. They both work really great. So again, I'm going to work perpendicular to my surface, put pressure in the middle, build the middle a little bit here, and just do those drop flowers. These are really easy to sort of fill. As you can see, I prefer the open star tip for these ones. These ones are a little bit more shaky and
Ito,
harder
mas
to
flat
get the
siya,
icing
guys.
out because
Kasi
the
yung,
tip is a little bit more
yung
closed and
tusok
the icing doesn't flow as free.
ng tip niya is
And also to
nakapaloob siya.
produce some
Unlike yung
rosettes,
kanina is
I built
diretso
a
sila
little bit of
naganda.
icing in the middle
Yung
and
ganito,
then
yung
put
tip
pressure
niya
as
is
I roll
nakaganito yung sa
around
dulo niya.
the middle and overlap and then let go of pressure and continue to pull my tip as I let go of the pressure to get that little end. And again, I'm cleaning my tip in between so I start fresh. Again, build up a little bit of pressure in the middle, pressure pipe around, and then let go and sort of get that tip keep going around so the tip sort of curls around. Okay, so you can tell this one here, I'm going to put a little bit less pressure to make a smaller flower, and you can see. Again, it's not sticking well because of the parchment, but on a cookie, it'll stick a little bit better. And if you have a tip like this, you can just use your scribe and just sort of roll it around and attach it back, and it sort of finishes off the flower if you have the end that sort of hangs off. So you can see the difference. It's not really that big. So this was the open star tip on the top, and then you have the closed star tip on the bottom. Again, not a big difference, so whichever you decide to use, it's just personal preference. So now we're going to use the bigger tips here. So we've got the 2D, the Wilton 2D, and the Wilton 1M tip. These are the most popular tips for big rosettes, and they work really well, and they're really quick. Once you learn how to make them, they're really quick to do. And they're great looking, beautiful flowers. So here again, I'm going to use my same bag. Now that I've double bag, I can easily take my bag out and switch the tips with no problem. So I'm going to cut my bag a little bit bigger here because the tip is a lot bigger than what I was using. And I'll go ahead and stick my tip into the bag and stick my icing in there as well. Okay, so here I have my 1M tip that I'm going to be using. And I'll show you the drop flowers and the rosettes that come out of it. So again, once again, the egg of my tip is perpendicular to my surface. And I'm just going to put pressure, let go of the pressure of the bag, and lift up. And once again, perpendicular, put pressure, let go of the pressure with my hand, and lift straight up. You can see these are pretty simple, just a bigger version of what we had before.
Ayan guys,
Okay,
you
now we're
can
going to do our
create bigger
rosettes,
than
and
that
these are
one.
going to be
Depende
bigger
sa
rosettes. So again,
pagpipress mo.
perpendicular, build the icing up a
Depende
little
din
bit
sa
and
pagpipress
roll
mo ng icing. So
around
kapag
your
mas pipress
center,
mo siya,
and I'm
mas malaki
overlapping
yung
on my
lalabas na
center,
icing.
as you can see. I have a chunk of icing left there, so I'm going to just wipe it off with a wet paper towel here to start clean. I don't touch the tip down. I just hover it right above my surface. So you can see I'm building up the icing slowly as I'm putting pressure, wrapping it around on top of the center, overlapping, let go of the pressure, and pull my icing slowly away, and that'll give you that clean edge. So again, I'm just going to show you here once more. So we're going to build up the center a little bit, and then keep putting pressure and overlap the center. And that gives you that nice rosette. Let go of the pressure and slowly wrap it around. Now, if you don't overlap and you go kind of around, it doesn't give you as tight and clean as a rosette. It's not my favorite look. I prefer the overlapped look method. And again, I'll show you once more. Like if you don't overlap it, it kind of doesn't have a clean sort of rosette look. It's not bad, but I prefer overlapping. It looks a lot cleaner.
Actually,
Okay, so
nababasag
now I'm
yung
going to
icing
change
niya, guys.
tips, and I'm
Dapat
going to
walang
use the
putol yun.
2D tip, which is the closed
So yung
star
rose
tip.
niya is nababasag.
Another very popular tip as well. And I'm just going to switch out my bags here easily. And I just want to show you the difference between the open and the closed star tip. So the drop flowers do look a little bit different. They kind of come out more flowy. And then the centers kind of are a little bit more open. And here are the rosettes. The same idea, build the pressure in the middle and overlap. And you can tell they're very similar, just a little bit more flowy. So now to do it on a cookie, again, perpendicular. We don't want to do it at an angle, straight up and down. And I'm going to build up the icing in the middle, not touching the cookie, and wrap it around, overlapping my icing, pull and let go of the pressure and pull. And there you go. Once again, build it up in the middle, overlap, let go of the pressure and pull. And then you can clean up the edge with a scribe if you need to, just to get that tip in there. And there you go. Beautiful rosette on your cookie.
Okay guys, nakita niyo yung sumablay kanina. Yun yung tinatawag ko, ay sinasabi ko kanina guys. Kasi pag hindi mo na control yung pag-pipe mo ng kamay mo kapag patapos na yung ikot mo, ang tendency nito is magkakaroon siya ng sablay. So ang ginawa niya is meron siyang parang stick or alambre na inayos niya yung dulo niya para mag-flat. Pero kung wala kang ganun guys, all you have to do is yung isang daliri mo, basahin mo lang siya ng tubig and then ayusin mo yung swirl. So mas magiging firm yung texture niya. So ayusin mo lang yung sumablay. Basahin mo ng tubig yung daliri mo and then habang basahin daliri mo, ayusin mo yung naka-swirl para pumino or sumabay siya doon sa ikot. No?
Next one we will be doing is working with the pedal tip. So again, I want some stiff royal icing. You can see here it's holding stiff peaks, it's holding the shape. And we're going to start off with the smaller pedal tips. So again, I want to cut my bag to make sure it fits my tip properly here. I'm going to be using the Wilton 101 tip. It's a pedal tip and it's a smaller pedal tip. And so I'll show you what kind of flowers you can make with this. So you can see here on the tip that there's a skinny side and there's sort of a fat side. It's like a teardrop shape. And so when we're doing flowers, it's very important that your skinny side or your narrow side is the side that's pointing outwards. And your fat, sort of thicker side is always towards the center of your flower. So you can see here, if I pipe a straight line, there's sort of a rounded edge and a sort of pointier edge. Hard to see in the video, but so that's what I'm talking about when we have the fat and the skinny side of the teardrop tip there. So here you can see, I'm just going to slowly make a U with my piping tip. So I'm going to go like a rainbow, sort of go around, put pressure, go up and come back down. Always putting pressure until you finish the U. So you can just practice with your tip just to get a feel for
This
it.
one is yung
And
small
to feel if you
tip
turn your
for
bag a little
small
bit, if
detail,
you just go
guys.
straight up
Ayan.
and down, what
You can
kind of
create. Yun yung
petals
mga
it will give you.
nilalagay sa side ng mga kicks. Kung mapapansin
So here I have a
niyo yung
little
mga
piece of
design
parchment
dito sa
paper.
gilid ng
I'm going to
kicks,
put a little
yan
bit of
yung mga
pressure on.
tip na
Again, the
ginagamit
fat
nila.
side, the thick side is
Akala mo ang
facing inwards to
simple
the middle
lang
of
niya
my
guys, pero
flower.
it
I start in the
takes
middle,
time
go
para
up, turn
matutunan
the
mo
paper,
siya.
and come down. I'm putting constant pressure, even pressure.
Katulad
for
ng
each
ginagawa
petal
niya guys is
until I
nilagay niya
stop
sa
at the
small
end and pull the
parchment
bag
paper.
away.
Yung ginawa niya. And
And
then,
again,
ang gagawin mo
on
dito is
another piece
ilalagay
of
mo siya
paper,
sa
I'll show you
freezer
again. So
para
put
tumigas yung
pressure, the
buttercream
fat side's
mo.
in the middle.
And then pag matigas na
And
siya,
I turn the paper.
gumamit ka lang
Instead of
ng
turning my bag,
scraper,
it's easier to
pwede mo
turn
nang
your
ilipat
cookie
yung
or your
flower
piece
na
of
yan
paper
doon
here.
sa mismong cake na
And again,
ginawa
just
mo.
put
So
even
habang
pressure.
matigas siya
And
guys,
here I'm
pwede mo
actually
siyang hawakan
overlapping. So I'm
para
starting
hindi siya
underneath the
ma-deform.
last
And then
petal
itutusok
and
mo lang
going
siya
on
doon sa
top,
cake na ginawa
starting
mo.
underneath, and then I finish on top. So it gives you a different look of a flower. So those last two were sort of flatter flowers, and I'll show you how to make a more 3D or taller flower. So again, we start our base the same. You just make your petals here. You put your pressure, go out with your tip and bring it back down. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point because we're going to pipe some more petals on top. So once you have your base layer, I'm going to just fix it up a little bit with my scribe here, and I'm going to start piping my second layer. So again, I'm going to do a few petals, a few less than my first go around, and I'm going to just keep going and build the leaves up. And you can stop here, or you can continue with another layer of 1 or 2 leaves on top. So let's go to the cookie now. And again, we're going to do our rainbow or upside down U shape. So the fat part of the tip is going to be inside. I'm going to lay my tip sort of flat so it's even against the cookie. And as I put pressure on my piping bag, I'm going to turn my cookie slightly and come back down. You want to build the icing up sort of so that you don't have a hole in between your petals. So if I make my U or rainbow too wide, then I'll have a sort of gap in between where my piping bag goes up and down in my petal. So here we just keep going until you're satisfied with what your flower looks like. You can put a few little sprinkles in there and you have a nice simple flower. Okay, for the next flower here, we're going to make the more 3D flower. So again, the same base. So here I'm just piping again with pressure, turning the cookie as I go. And once you start getting comfortable, it goes a little bit quicker. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The icing you see building up in the middle, that's going to be covered, so I'm not too worried about it. And again, on the second layer, I sort of overlap and do the same thing, but just smaller half circles, basically smaller upside down U's. So I'm just going to put a third layer of petals on this one just to finish the top. So just keep in mind every layer you want a slightly smaller petal and 1 or 2 petals less. So I'm just going to top this one off with 3 petals. And if you need to fix anything with your scribe, you know, when you're ended with your petal, you can just kind of do this, fix it up, and you're good to go. And there you go, a nice simple flower. Okay, so this flower, we're going to be using a slightly bigger tip. It's a Wilton 103 tip. And it's the exact same shape, it's just bigger. So we're going to do a little bit of a different type of flower with this one. I'm not really sure what this flower would be called, but here we go. So you put a little bit of icing in the middle, and then we're going to sort of overlap 3 lines of icing. So you kind of I'm turning the parchment paper here just to make it easier on myself, but we're just overlapping the dollop of icing I left. Again, the fat side is facing down, the skinny side of the tip is facing up. Now we're going to do our petals a little bit, you know, leave some space between the mound that we put and the petals, because we're going to fill that in after. So here you can make your petals as big or as small as you want. The tip here my tip is not too big, so I'm not making them huge. And you just do what we've done before in the flower. Now to fill in that gap in the middle, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to keep the skinny part out, and I'm going to just keep layering on the petals. And this gives you a little bit of a different flower with sort of a closed center look. So now we're going to do it on the actual cookie. So I'm going to build up my icing here again with the tip, and then I'm going to make 3 overlapping lines or layers on my dollop of icing. Again, the skinny side of the tip, make sure it's always facing up, and your fat side of the tip is the one touching the cookie on the inside. So this will be the middle of my flower, and then I'll go ahead and, again, with the fat side facing inward, I'll make my petals. Here I'm going to make a little bit of a bigger petal, so a longer petal. You can do like an M shape or a U shape, whatever you feel comfortable with. You know, 2 or 3 bumps, it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of going with it, and if there's gaps near the center, I'm not too worried about those because they will be covered with the second layer of petals. Again, you can always play around, you know, if you make a wider U, if you put more pressure, it's a bigger flower or petal that comes out. You know, the more you play around with it, the more you'll get a feel for what produces what kind of petals and what you kind of like to make and what your style of flower is. So again, we're going to go in and I'm going to overlap. So where the 2 petals meet, that's when I want to put my top petal. And again, just the same thing, kind of making a little M with my piping bag instead of a U, just because it's a bigger flower, just to fill in the gaps there. And I kind of keep going around and keep turning my cookie. And then if there's any spots that I need to fill in, I can just go in there with my scribe after and just kind of fill in the gaps there, as you can see here. All right, now for the fun part, piping roses. So again, I have my stiff consistency royal icing. If it's not stiff enough, you guys can just add a little bit more powdered sugar, but you want to make sure that it holds its shape.
So
now I'm going to use my
So guys, ito
flower nail
ito
for this one.
ginagamit niya yung parang
So
pako
I'm just going to put
na
a
merong
little bit of
flat
icing
yung
here
ulo.
on
So
top
yan
of my
dyan
flower
namin
nail,
iniikot yung
just
roses
to
para
secure my
makakreate
piece of
yun.
parchment
And then
paper.
try to see
And
kung
these
ano
are
yung
kind of like
tip na
oral icing
ginagamit niya.
transfers. I basically pipe this, let
Okay,
it
that is
dry,
another
and then
technique,
I
guys.
attach it to my
Para
cookie with
hindi
a little bit
matanggal yung
more
papel.
icing. So again, it's similar to the previous flower where we're going to put a dollop of icing in the middle. And I have the flower nail and I'm just rolling it between my fingers. So now I'm going to do one long strand, and as I pull the strand away, I'm turning the flower nail at the same time and trying to make the very middle of the rose. And so you can see I've overlapped my line. So now where the line ended, I'm just going to create my petals. So again, you're going to touch down, put some pressure on the bag, and lift up, and then touch down again to secure the icing. I usually like to make 3 if I can on the inside. I like to do odd numbers. And if you want sort of a small little rosette or rose, you can just stop here. I'm going to keep going just to make a bigger flower. And so what I just keep doing is the same process.
And then
just
also,
longer
alternate
strands.
siya, guys, no? Yung
And so
pagpa-flat mo ng
I
mga
touch my
petals is
tip, put some
alternate siya.
pressure, slowly lift
Kung
my
saan,
tip up.
I mean,
And then
hindi mo siya
as I
kailangan
get to the
ituloy kung
outside
saan
of the
ka
flower, I'm going to
natapos.
sort of
Kailangan
turn
doon
my
sa
tip
gitna.
more to the outside. So I'm going to open up my rose a bit. So you can see that my tip is sort of facing more flat, parallel to my surface rather than sort of up and down how I had it before, and how the petals are sort of opening up on the flower. And so there you go. You can just take it off, set it aside, and let that dry. And then you can glue it onto your cookie with some royal icing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and
All right.
do another one here.
Let's stop this one first, guys.
So again, I'm just going to glue my...
Let's remove this one. So yun, guys. Okay, for our second attendance, kindly say present para dun sa ating second attendance, guys. Baka yung iba sa inyo is natulog na. So I'm hoping na meron kayong natututunan for some basic tips. So for second attendance, guys, kindly please say present. Mag-check lang ako for our second attendance. For our second attendance. Okay, si Cinderella, Camille. Chester, Roselle, Tricia. Okay guys, since nandito na rin tayo, don't forget to like naman yung ating live. Paki-like lang guys, just press yung like. Then, kasi nasa 20 lang yung likes natin. Favor lang. Thank you. Si Marjorie, Ria. Okay guys, again, if you have some questions, please isulat lang ninyo then para masagot ko siya. So, hanap pa tayo ng isang video. Very short video, guys.
Chowking Pork Chow Fat, Mickey's Ahog Chinese Fried Rice in one. Pa-deliver na!
Every journey must start somewhere. What follow are the little steps to become what we envision.
Hi guys and welcome to my kitchen. I am
Okay,
Kuya
this one is
Boyet,
yung
and
mga
ngayon,
essential things naman.
tulad
Actually,
na sinabi ko
that
sa
is
last
meron
video
na akong
natin, hindi mo tayo magbe-bake.
meron na akong mga sinend sa inyo before na ganito na video. But this one is makikita natin guys. Maybe meron siyang ibang mga videos, meron siyang mga ibang gamit na hindi ko na ipakita or hindi meron siyang mga ibang gamit na hindi ko nasabi. So, this one is really important. Baking is also investment, guys. No? Investment ng mga gamit. Unlike cooking, if you have some stove and then you have your small pot, pwede ka na mag-start. Unlike baking, in every product or in every product or recipe na kakailanganin mo is meron kang kakailanganin na gamit. Like for example, gusto mong gumawa ng ensaymada, kailangan mo ng ensaymada molder. Kung gusto mong gumawa ng tart, kailangan mo ng tart molder. Parang ganun siya. Parang ganun yung nagiging style ng baking, guys. So, let's watch this.
But
Kay Baking
ipapakita
Essentials
ko lang sa
for
inyo yung mga
Beginners.
important na kakailanganin nyo kapag gusto nyo matutong mag-bake or kung gusto nyo
Habang
mag-start
nag-check lang
mag-bake
ako natin.
pero hindi kayo sure or hindi nyo alam kung paano mag-start and kung ano yung mga kakailanganin nyo sa kitchen or yung mga kailanganin nyong bilhin. So simulan na natin. So naka-divide siya, meron sa kanan and sa kaliwa. Ito yung mga essentials talaga. Ito mga ano na lang, pag medyo nakaipon-ipon na may budget, pwede na bumili ng ganyan. So dito muna tayo sa kanan. So first things first, ang kailanganin natin ay ang oven. Siyempre, paano tayo mag-bake kung walang oven? Sa rice cooker. Pwede daw sa rice cooker pero never ko na try. So yan, ang gamit is Hanabishi. I think this is 50 liters or 55. I'm not pretty sure. So initially, may tip akong nagbibigay agad sa inyo. So kasi pag bumili kayo ng oven, ang style, ang ingay. Oops. Yan. So balik muna natin sa original position. Kung mag-start pa lang kayo mag-bake, okay na yung gantong oven. Kasi ako naman nag-start ako sa gantong oven. And up until now, ganito pa rin yung oven na ginagamit ko. So wala naman akong problema. I was able to, to manage my time, my baking time, just by using this type of oven, yung tabletop. Pero 3 units yung ganito ko para pag parami kong kailangan i-bake, sabay-sabay silang nakasaksak, gumagana. So sa kuryente, parang hindi naman masyadong malaki. Sakto lang. So ito kasi, pag bumili kayo ng ganitong oven, meron siyang black na tray sa ilalim and isang wire na tray. So dito kasi, kapag nag-bake ako, pan na ginagamit ko madalas is 8-inch kasi usually kapag may order ako na cake, and let's say 1 layer lang. Usually ang size ng cake na binibake ko na pang 1 layer is 8-inch. So para 2 tray na agad or 2 baking pan na magkakasya. Kasi pag ganit yan, tanggalin mo na natin ito. Kapag ganyan kasi, so nakatabing yung isang pan. Kaya ginagawa ko, binabaliktad ko itong block kasi may wall siya. So binabaliktad ko siya. So para yung space niya dito sa gilid, ma-occupy ka. So mayu-utilize ko yung space sa gilid niya. So magkakasya na yung 2 8-inch pan. So nakatabingi lang siya. Hindi siya yung magkahilerang ganyan. Nakatabingi siya para magkasya siya sa oven. So ganun din dito sa wire. Although meron ng mga oven ngayon, diretso na yung wire niya, wala na siyang ganito. So binabaliktad ko rin siya para magamit ko rin yung space niya. So 2 8-inch pan yung kasya. So ginagawa ko pag cheesecake kasi hindi naman siya maselan, hindi ako nag-water bath or yung bain marie na tinatawag. So direkta na yung cake pan. So nakapag-bake ako ng 4 na cheesecake sa isang salangan. Pero para even yung pagka-bake niya, binabaliktad ko na lang sila halfway through ng baking. So yun, and you need a cupcake tray or cupcake pan. Definitely pag nag-enjoy na kayo mag-baking, susubukan nyo rin gumawa ng mga cupcakes. So kailangan ng baking pan. And make sure yung cupcake pan is kasya kasi nung dati, ang nabili kong oven nata mga 30-35 liters lang. So hindi kasya yung ganitong kalaki na 12 pieces ng
Guys, sorry.
tray.
Wala pala siyang naka-share na screen. I'm sorry. Thank you.
So
Thank you, Gabriel. Sorry. I thought guys na-share ko siya. Alright. Sir, di po namin. Okay, sorry guys. Sorry. Hindi ko pala siya na-share screen. Hold on. So, ulitin natin siya. Thank you for reminding me, guys. Alright, this one. Alright, guys, sorry. Hindi ko siya napansin. Nakala ko na share ko siya. Share screen.
Kakailanganin nyo kapag
Alright.
gusto nyo matutong mag-bake or kung
Okay, this one guys, susulitin ko lang. Actually, gumawa na rin ako ng shorts video about this one. And then, eto, si Kuya Boyat is isi-share din niya kung ano yung mga essential things na kakailanganin nyo as a starter, parang gano'n. So, it's really important guys to know kung ano yung mga basic things na kakailanganin mo. I mean, basic tools and equipment na kakailanganin mo. And then, makikita ninyo guys kung ano yung mga techniques na gagawin niya para sa pagbe-bake ng mga cheesecake niya and then something na, tsaka yung mga cakes niya. And actually, gumagamit siya ng electric oven kumpara sa electric gas. I mean, oven gas, no? Kasi ang kagandahan ng electric oven is even yung init ng oven mo. Pero kapag ang disadvantage lang niya is medyo malakas sa kuryente. Actually, sabi niya mahina, pero mas malakas ang mga oven sa electric. And then, ang kagandahan naman ng oven gas is nalalaman mo yung kung magkano yung nako-consume mo na gas, no? Alright,
gusto nyo mag-start mag-bake pero hindi kayo sure or hindi nyo alam kung paano mag-start and kung ano yung mga kakailanganin nyo sa kitchen or yung mga kailanganin yung bilhin. So, simulan na natin. So, naka-divide siya. Meron sa kanan and sa kaliwa. Ito yung mga essentials talaga. Ito mga, pag medyo nakaipon-ipon na, may budget, pwede na bumili ng ganyan. So, dito muna tayo sa kanan. So, first things first, ang kailanganin natin ay ang oven. Siyempre, paano tayo magbe-bake kung walang oven? Sa rice cooker. Pwede daw sa rice cooker pero never ko na-try. So, yan. Ang gamit kong oven is Hanabishi. I think this is 50 liters or 55. I'm not pretty sure. So, initially, may tip akong ibibigay agad sa inyo. So, kasi pag bumili kayo ng oven, ang style, ang ingay. Oops. Yan. So, balik muna natin sa original position. Kung mag-start pa lang kayo mag-bake, okay na yung gantong oven. Kasi ako naman nag-start ako sa gantong oven. And up until now, ganito pa rin yung oven na ginagamit ko. So, wala naman akong problema. I was able to, to manage my time, my baking time, just by using this type of oven, yung tabletop. Pero 3 units yung ganito ko para pag marami kong kailangan i-bake, sabay-sabay silang nakasaksak, gumagana. So, sa kuryente, parang hindi naman masyadong malaki. Sakto lang. So, ito kasi, pag bumili kayo ng ganitong oven, meron siyang black na tray sa ilalim and isang wire na tray. So, dito kasi, kapag nag-bake ako, ang pan na ginagamit ko madalas is 8-inch kasi usually kapag may order ako na cake, and let's say 1 layer lang. Usually ang size ng cake na binibake ko na pang 1 layer is 8-inch. So para 2 tray na agad or 2 baking pan na yung magkakasya. Kasi pag ganit yan, tanggalin mo na natin po. Kapag ganyan kasi, so nakatabing yung isang pan. Kaya ginagawa ko, binabaliktad ko itong block kasi may wall siya eh. So binabaliktad ko siya. So para yung space niya dito sa gilid, ma-occupy ka. So mayu-utilize ko yung space sa gilid niya. So magkakasya na yung 2 8-inch pan. So nakatabingi lang siya. Hindi siya yung magkahilerang ganyan. Nakatabingi siya para magkasya siya sa oven. So ganun din dito sa wire. Although meron ng mga oven ngayon, diretso na yung wire niya, wala na siyang ganito. So binabaliktad ko rin siya para magamit ko rin yung space niya. So 2 8-inch pan yung kasya. So ginagawa ko pag cheesecake kasi hindi naman siya maselan, hindi ako nag-water bath or yung bain marie na tinatawag. So direkta na yung cake pan. So nakapag-bake ako ng 4 na cheesecake sa isang salangan. Pero para even yung pagka-bake niya, binabaliktad ko na lang sila halfway through ng baking. So yun, and you need a cupcake tray or cupcake pan. Definitely pag nag-enjoy na kayo mag-baking, tusubukan nyo rin gumawa ng mga cupcakes. So kailangan ng baking pan. And make sure yung cupcake pan is kasya sa oven nyo. Kasi nung dati, ang nabili kong oven natin, mga 30-35 liters lang. So hindi kasya yung ganitong kalaki na 12 pieces ng cupcake tray. Yes, so that's it for our oven. And kailangan din natin, of course, kailangan ng mixing bowl. So, 3 types ang pwede niyong pagpilian. Merong stainless, plastic, and yung glass. So, depende na lang sa trip nyo kung ano gusto yung gamitin. And wire whisk. Nung nag-start kasi ako mag-bake, wala pa akong
Maraming mga tips sa wire whisk, guys. Merong matigas na wire whisk. Kailangan yung wire whisk ninyo is nabibensya.
Pero pag bibili ka ng whisk, make sure na matibay yung wire niya or matigas kasi merong wire whisk na malambot. Sinadya siyang malambot kasi pang ano lang siya, pang mga whipping cream, pang or mga egg or yung mga frosting at saka anything na kailangan mag-incorporate ng volume sa anything na minimix. Pero merong nabibili din na medyo matigas na yung wire, medyo makapal na yung wire. So, pwede na siya pang-mix ng mga cake batter or brownies, cookie dough. Pwede na siya. So, meron din akong silicone para, wala lang. Ito actually yung pinakaunang-unang wire whisk ko. Buhay pa siya hanggang ngayon. Nagbungi lang siya ng isang strand ng whisk, ng wire. Nabungian siya ng isa, pero buhay pa siya. Ginagamit ko lang siya pag nag-mix ako sa Teflon pan para hindi nagagasgas kasi nga may silicone siya. So, yung maganda siya. And of course, kailangan din natin ng spatula, pang-scrape, pang-simot sa bowl pag mag-mix tayo. And sometimes, pwede na itong pang-mix kung gusto nyo mag-bake ng cookie, ng brownie. Pag ayaw nyo gumamit ng wire whisk, pwede na kayong gumamit ng spatula. Pero yung sinasuggest ko, ito naman yung gantong style ng spatula. Available na naman siya sa mga baking supply store and mura lang siya. Wala pa siyang 200 pesos ata. Nasa 100 plus lang siya. Maganda kasi siya, diretso na siya. So kapag natuluan ng butter or hanggang dito sumama yung butter, so pag nag-scrape kayo, masisimot siya. Dire-diretso siya, walang sisingit. It will last you a very long time kasi super sarap niyang gamitin. Magharap kayo ng spatula lang, hindi matigas, hindi malambot, yung sakto lang. So paano nyo malalaman dito sa end niya? Kapag masyadong malambot siya, minsan mahirap mag-scrape. Especially pag medyo thick yung batter niya, i-mix niya like mga brownie batter or mga cookie batter, ganyan. Kasi pag mga gantong may connector, so minsan dito naiipod yung cake batter. And minsan mahirap magsimot. Although, ito gusto ko kasi mahaba siya. And since metal siya, matigas siya. And yun. And huwag din kayong bibili ng yung parang wood. Tapos meron dito yung head ng spatula nakasuksok dun sa wood. So meron siyang parang rectangular shape na design dito. Ang pangit-pangit ng ganun. Huwag kayong bumili na. Ang hirap mag-scrape. Pag nag-scrape kayo, naiiwanan lang yung mga cake batter dito. And minsan, madalas natatanggal yung head ng spatula. So ganito na lang bilhin niya, yung dire-diretso lang siya. So ito, binili ko lang kasi sa brand. And ito, kailangan nyo. Ito yung tong. So yung parang medium size tong. Nabibili naman siya sa mga department store, baking supply store. Ito ginagamit ko lang siya pangkuha ng pangsungkit sa pan. So parang hindi ako nasanay na gumagamit ng gloves or yung mittens. So ito ginagamit ko. Sinusungkit ko yung itaas niya. And then Yan, madali na siyang kuhanin. And may ngiti naman siya, so naglalak siya. So hindi siya douglas.
Sorry.
So this is very useful din. Yung tong. And kailangan nyo din ng, syempre, kailangan ng measuring cups and spoon.
Your idea is waiting to be
May
seen.
ads lang.
Put it all on display with a beautiful website from GoDaddy. Connect your social media and grow it all with insight. GoDaddy Websites Plus Marketing. Start for free today at GoDaddy.com.
Bakit ako nagmumotor? Nagmumotor ako para harapin ang kahit anong
Skip natin.
So I have two
Yung mga
kinds
basic
ng
essentials
measuring
na
cups and
kailangan talaga,
spoons.
guys.
Meron akong stainless and
Maraming
meron
nabibili
akong
mga
plastic.
mura pero better to buy yung
So
mahal
bakit ako
kasi
may
mas
plastic
matagal
and
yung life
stainless?
nila. Kumpara dun sa mga
Stainless
cheap.
kasi
Sa used car marami pero nakita ko yung quality
nakikita
is
nga
not
sa
good,
mga
guys.
napapanood ko
Mura sila
kay
pero
Ann also.
madaling masira.
Diba mga ganitong gamit nila? Yung brand ito is Oneida. Medyo mahal siya pero it's worth the investment naman. Lifetime na siya. So yung spoon niya, 1 tablespoon, half tablespoon ba to? 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon, and 1/4 teaspoon. Tapos 1 cup, half a cup, 1/3 cup, and 1/4 cup. So ginagamit ko yung stainless steel na measuring cup pag sa dry ingredients. And then pag sa wet ingredients, gamit ko yung plastic para hindi ako naguhugas. Kasi minsan syempre pag magbe-bake ka, mag-scoop ka ng flour, maglagay ka ng oil. So syempre pag nabasa na siya and then maglalagay ka ng dry, let's say sugar, may oil na siya, so kakapit lang. So hindi accurate yung pagka-measure mo ng ingredients. So hiwala yung wet ingredients ko, ibang measuring cups and spoon ang gamit ko pag dry and measuring cups and spoon pag wet. But then again, depende sa inyo kung gusto nyo ng lagi naguhugas. So why not? Yun lang. And then basically ito lang kailangan nyo initially. Yan lang. Oven, baking pan, cupcake tray, spatula, wire whisk, bowl, measuring cups and spoon. Yan lang kailangan nyo bilhin kung gusto nyo mag-start ng baking. And then pag medyo gusto nyo mag level up sa pagbe-bake nyo and gusto nyo mag-try ng mga ibang recipes, gusto nyo mag-proceed sa mga cakes, kakailangan nyo ng cake tester kasi very important to para hindi kayo maka-underbake para hindi nyo ma-underbake yung mga cakes na gagawin nyo. Sinusunod ko na lang yung doneness ng cake pagluto na siya kapag ginagamit ako ng cake tester. And hindi ko sinusunod yung oras.
Actually guys, yan cake tasters is really important. Pero ako, nagbe-base na lang ako doon sa texture ng cake. Like for example, kapag na-mix mo yung cake, very glossy siya. Sobrang kumikintab siya kapag nilagay mo sa baking pan. Pero kapag naluluto na yan guys, unti-unti yan nagiging matte yung kulay niya sa gilid. And then, yan, sobrang nipis lang yan. Para lang siyang alambre na manipis kasi para hindi masira yung texture ng cake kasi sa kakatusok mo. Kasi minsan kapag tinidor yung ginagamit mo or fork yung ginagamit mo na pantusok, ang nangyayari guys is nadideform yung cake mo. Ako, ang ginagawa ko is pinipress ko lang. Pipress ko lang yung pinakagitna. Assuming ito yung mismong cake mo, ipipress ko lang yung dito sa gitna niya, ganito, yung dito. Kapag nag-bounce siya, ibig sabihin luto na siya. Pero importante din na i-double check natin dyan. Minsan kasi like for example, sa isang cake, kailangan mo ng, like for example, magbe-bake ka ng 8 by 3 inches na cake. So 8 ang laki niya and then ang taas niya is 3 inches. So minsan, ang required na recipe mo is 30 to 35 minutes. Ako hindi ako nagbe-base din doon. Maliban na lang kung everyday kong ginagawa yon, the same oven. Kasi minsan, doon sa recipe na kinuhanan mo, magkaiba yung texture, ay magkaiba yung klase ng oven ninyo. Especially kung luma na yung oven mo, mas mabagal na or mas mababa na yung temperature niya kasi may mga butas or siwang na siya. And then, ako ang ginagawa ko, kung 30 minutes ang required niya, pwede ko na siyang buksan or pwede ko nang i-check yung oven, ay yung aking cake sa loob ng oven ko kapag meron na siyang 70 to 80% cooking time. Paano mo makukuha yung 70 to 80% cooking time? Let me say 30 minutes ang required nung recipe mo. 30 minutes baking time sa 170 Celsius. Okay, ang gagawin ko is i-check ko siya kapag nasa 20 to 25 minutes na siya. Kasi para lang ma-sure ko na hindi siya masusunog. Alright?
Kasi may tinatry akong isang recipe. So, sinunod ko yung ingredients and then yung baking time, yun ang hindi ko sinusunod na lang. Basta alam ko pag cake, isa-set ko siya at 150 degrees Celsius or 160 and then isa-set ko ng 1 hour. Pero by 40 minutes, itetest ko siya pag okay na using a cake, again, a cake tester. So, pag lumabas na may crumbs pa, ibig sabihin hindi pa siya luto. So, i-extend ko pa yung baking time. Pero pag lumabas na siyang wala ng cake crumbs, malinis na yung cake tester, ibig sabihin luto na siya. Hindi ko sinusunod yung baking time pag nagbe-bake ako actually. Basta sinaset ko siya ng 1 hour lagi. And then tinetest ko na lang pag 40 minutes na. Ito mura lang naman siya, 100 plus lang siya. Uneida, yung brand dito. Available siya sa Landmark. Sa Landmark supermarket ko siya nabili. 100 pesos lang, 100 plus. So, tapos na tayo dito. And next thing na kakailanganin nyo, although may temperature na to, yung oven natin, kaso minsan, even sa lahat ng oven or sa ibang oven na experience ko, hindi talaga accurate yung oven, yung temperature na na-detect, yung temperature na na-detect ng oven sa talagang init niya sa loob. Kasi yung ibang thermometer nakalagay sa labas. And pag naglagay ka ng oven thermometer na ipapasok mo sa loob, iba yung nare-register niyang temperature. So, ito pwede kayong bumili ng ganito or kahit wala na. Kasi habang tumatagal naman, makakabisado nyo na yung oven nyo. Magiging familiar na kayo sa oven nyo. So, hindi nyo na kailangan ng thermometer. Pero kung gusto nyo, why not? And timer hindi naman talaga kailangan. Pero minsan, pag nalilibang ka, kunwari malayo ka sa oven, so it's always good to have a timer with you na malapit sa'yo para to remind you na may binibake ka and pag nag-stop na yung timer na sinet mo, ayun, hindi ka masusunugan or hindi ma-underbake or overbake yung binibake mo. Yung sifter, ginagamit siya pag may mga malalaking clumps ng flour or powdered sugar or cocoa. Di ba, kung nakapanood na kayo ng mga cooking shows or baking shows sa YouTube or sa Food Network or kung saan man, minsan sinisip nila yung cocoa powder, yung flour, powdered sugar, or any dry ingredients para mawala yung mga clumps, yung mga bubo sa flour. So ginagamitan nila ng pansala or what they call sifter or a sieve. So yun, ito kailangan nyo din kapag nagde-decorate na kayo ng mga cake. So for frosting, paglalagay ng mga filling, so metal spatula. Isang offset spatula, yung paganyan, yung shape, para hindi tumatama yung ito kasi minsan yung handle. Kaya mataas yung cake nyo. So pag nagpo-frosting kayo, so syempre tatama yung handle niya. Although meron naman ito.
You created a business. Now,
actually guys,
create
isa siya
videos
sa
for your
sikat na
business.
pinapanood sa
Easily
YouTube.
and instant.
Ang dami niyang ads.
Itong malalaki.
Kaya guys, yung
itong
mga,
isa,
yan yung
para
tama
hindi
yung sinasabi niya,
tumatama
kailangan
yung
meron kang L-shaped spatula
So you
para
can
hindi
work
tumatama
on the
yung
side
daliri
and
mo
the
doon sa
top
cake.
with no problem.
And then, kailangan meron
So
din
yun,
kayong mga
and
iba-ibang size ng spatula is really important, guys. Kasi kapag masyado naman malaki yung cake mo and then maliit yung spatula mo, hindi rin advisable. And then kapag masyado naman maliit ang cake mo, masyado naman malaki ang spatula mo, hindi rin siya advisable. So meron kang magandang size ng cake, meron ka din tamang meron kang maliit na cake, meron kang tamang size ng mga spatula mo. So sa spatula pa lang, you need to invest, guys.
Hindi man you need, pero pag nagko-cookies kayo, kailangan yun ng scooper, ice cream scoop, para even or pantay-pantay lahat ng cookies na gagawin nyo. So it comes in small, medium, and large. Ito small, or may mas maliit pa ata nito. Ito yung large. And then, a weighing scale, kailangan din kasi yung ibang recipe, kunwari, mag-search kayo ng recipe, sometimes naka sila by weight. So sometimes hindi sila naka-cup or naka-cup yung mga measurements. Minsan, naka-kilogram sila, naka-pounds, naka-ounce, yun. So it's good to have a weighing scale, pero initially, pag beginner pa lang, hindi naman kailangan. So dako na tayo dito sa dako talaga. So dito na tayo sa electric hand mixer. So pagdating sa electric hand mixer, ako kasi nung nag-start ako, marami na ako na gamit na hand mixer. From the cheapest one to the popular one. Ayan, so hindi sila tumagal sa akin. Ang tumatagal na lang ngayon sa akin, itong gamit ko, Philips. Ilang workshop na rin yung nagamitan nito, matibay pa rin. Gusto ko yung Philips kasi pag sinet siya sa number 1, mahina lang siya. Kasi yung ibang hand mixer, yung ibang electric hand mixer, pag sinet mo sa 1, sobrang bilis na agad. And sometimes yung ibang recipe, kailangan mo initially mahina pa lang yung pagmimix. Yun ang problema minsan sa mumurahing mixer. Ang bilis agad ng number 1. So itong Philips, yung KitchenAid, Galing pa lang naman yung try ko na branded na maganda. KitchenAid ko kasi ilang beses na bagsak kaya nasira siya. So Philips, I trust Philips. Maganda siya. So pagdating naman dito sa stand mixer, ito yung brand ko, Breville. Bakit Breville? Kasi nung time na, actually wala akong planong bumili pa ng stand mixer noon, pero nung time na wala, ikot-ikot ako sa appliance center and nagandaan ako sa kanya kasi maganda yung kulay, maganda yung forma. Although maganda naman talaga yung KitchenAid, kaso lang ang problema sa KitchenAid, hindi sila nag-offer ng installment plan. Kung mag-installment na sila 3 months lang. Ang Breville nag-offer sa akin ng kung hindi 24, 12 months. So wala akong plano na bumili ng stand mixer. 12 months naman siya, installment, so why not? And nagustuhan ko sa kanya, yung bowl niya, may handle, and meron siyang kasamang scraper beater. Yung scraper beater, maganda siyang gamitin kasi hindi mo na kailangan i-scrape yung bowl mo kapag nagmi-mix ka, yung ilalim na yung side. Ginagawa ng scraper beater ng kusa yung trabaho mo. So, apat yung attachments na kasama nung etong Breville mixer ko. So, merong scraper beater, may standard na scraper, and may hook attachment. This is for mga dough, mga bread dough, and yung whisk attachment. Usually gamit siya sa pag-add ng volume sa cake batter para mag-incorporate ng air. Especially pag gumagawa ka ng mga frosting, ng mga meringue. Yan, ito yung usually ginagamit. Pero ako, gamit ko siya hindi lang sa mga frosting, pero gamit ko siya sa cake batter. Matibay naman siya. Hindi naman ako binibigyan ng problema nito. Basta make sure na hindi matigas yung cake batter kasi merong butter. Huwag yung gagamitin sa cookie dough yan kasi masisira to. Sa mga cake batter lang na medyo watery yung mixture para hindi masira to. So ito yung mga kakailangan nyo kung gusto nyo mag-start ng baking. Pero like I said, Etong mga to, etong nasa kaliwa ko, secondary na lang yan pag medyo may budget na at nag-enjoy na kayo pag-bake, so pwede na kayo mag-invest sa mga ganitong gamit. Pero initially, yung mga important lang, oven, mixing bowl, spatula, cake tester. Ito, cake tester kailangan din. For barbecue stick, and whisk, wire whisk. Tapos mga measuring cups and spoon. And yung cupcake tray, cupcake pan, and baking pan. So yun lang ang masishare ko today. And for our next video, magbe-bake na tayo. And yun. So thank you all for watching. And again, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video sa mga kakilala nyo gusto matutong mag-bake. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Ako po si Kuya Boyet, and today, medyo matagal tayo nag-break sa YouTube. Ngayon ako sinipag ulit mag-create ng video. So ang gagawin ko ngayon is a mocha cake. So recently nagamit ko yung recipe sa order ko ng mocha cake. And sobrang na-appreciate naman nung nag-order. Sobrang nasarapan. Hindi ito yung usual na chiffon mocha cake na usually mga Pinoy alam natin. Pag mocha cake, yung parang chiffon-like, mga ganyan. So ito is a dense version ng mocha cake, which is good kapag nagpo-fondant cake kayo. So pag may order kayo ng fondant cake pero ang request is a mocha cake flavor. So pwede nyo siyang gawin na base ng cake para sa fondant nyo. So dense yung cake natin, and then for frosting, gagawin natin siya ng mocha Swiss meringue buttercream, which is very simple lang gawin. Hindi na siya kailangan ng i-mix matagal hanggang lumamig yung butter. So i-freezer natin yung buttercream natin. So gagawin natin siya today. Mocha cake plus Swiss meringue buttercream. So let's start. Okay, para sa mocha cake, ang una natin kailangan gawin is maglagay tayo sa ating mixing bowl ng 3 cups of all-purpose flour. So that's 3 cups all-purpose flour plus 2.5 cups ng sugar.
Ito na guys yung mga latest na stand mixer ngayon. Natataas mo na siya. Kumpara yung ginagamit ko na nakikita nyo sa vlog at saka nakikita nyo before dun sa unang klasiko. Yun yung unang old school or old style na mixer. Hindi mo na itataas yung portion. Hindi mo na itataas yung portion na to guys. Ngayon nabibend mo na siya. So yung akin, kailangan mo munang tanggalin ito bago mo siya mailabas. And then meron portion dito sa side na to na tinataas mo pa siya. So ito is a good thing. And then kung mapapansin nyo guys, napakaganda ng ano niya, lahat is nasa container. And then maglagay ka lang ng mga label, it's a really good sign to start. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
1, 2, and just about half cup. Okay, and then lalagyan natin ng cocoa powder. 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And 1 tablespoon of instant coffee powder. So dito gagamitin ko lang is Nescafe Classic coffee powder.
Yung iba guys, even kapag gumagawa sila ng chocolate cake is naglalagay sila ng coffee. Pero ako hindi ako naglalagay ng coffee.
So ito yung mga dry ingredients natin. Kulang pa pala. Kailangan natin ng baking powder. Baking soda. Baking soda is 1.5 tablespoon ng baking soda. And then 1 tablespoon ng baking powder. Okay, so eto muna yung dry ingredients. I-mix lang natin. So para lang malusin yung mga flour and cocoa para walang mga buo-buo. So for the liquid ingredients, we need 1 cup ng buttermilk, pero wala tayong buttermilk kaya gagawa tayo ng substitute lang. So yung substitute natin for the buttermilk is 1 tablespoon of vinegar, white vinegar. So 1 tablespoon and 1 cup of milk. Now, we also need sour cream, 1/2 cup of sour cream. Pero pag walang sour cream, pwede mag-substitute ulit ng all-purpose cream, 1/2 cup of all-purpose cream. And then 1/2 tablespoon of vinegar. So actually, dapat na-prepare to in advance para mag-combine yung vinegar and yung milk or yung cream. So just let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. So i-mix nyo lang. You can use lemon juice or yung vinegar na ginamit natin. So as you can see, parang mas lumalapot yung cream natin. So this is our substitute for the sour cream. And for our buttermilk, ito siya. Medyo lumalapot na siya. So let it sit for a while we prepare the other ingredients. Now, we can start adding yung mga wet ingredients. We need 1 tablespoon ng vanilla. And then 3/4 cup ng oil. I'm using canola oil. You can use vegetable oil or kung ano yung oil na prefer nyo. So that's 3/4 cup. And we add in 3 eggs. So siguro pwede nating i-add yung ating sour cream substitute. And yung ating buttermilk. Then, i-mix lang natin until well combined yung cake batter natin. So last na ilalagay natin is water. Ang amount ng tubig ay 1.5 cup ng, this is just room temperature water. Okay, mix natin ulit. So by the way, baka i-question nyo bakit whisk ang gamit ko or yung balloon whisk as opposed yung paddle attachment kasi medyo matubig naman yung mixture natin so hindi naman siya problema kung gagamit tayo ng whisk. So hindi siya ganun katigas na batter. Kaya okay lang gumamit tayo ng whisk attachment. So full blast yung ating mixer.
Okay guys, stop muna
At
natin
ready
ito
na yung
kasi
ating
it's,
mixture.
4:30 na.
Ta-transfer na natin sa
So
baking
para
pan.
meron tayong
I-prepare
then let's
natin
continue next week
yung baking pan natin is
para masagot ko if you
8
have
inch.
some questions. Alright, stop muna natin to guys. So marami pa naman to guys. I just really wanted you na makita kung ano yung mga procedures, na mga iba-ibang procedures. Every baker, meron silang mga kanya-kanyang procedures. Every baker is meron silang mga kanya-kanyang techniques and tips na po pwedeng i-share. Kasi yung mga techniques naman is more on nadidevelop siya based doon sa experience mo. Yung techniques is nakukuha mo siya based doon sa everyday na pagbe-bake mo. And then, sometimes, doon sa mga panunod mo, pwede mong i-combine all together yung mga iba-ibang tips na tinuturo nila. And then nakakakuha ka ng simple techniques. I mean, using a tip at saka using a simple tips at saka mga techniques can makes your life easier pagdating sa baking. Kasi minsan kapag labo-labo yung procedure mo, hindi mo na maiiwasan that ang dami-dami mong mga complications na may encounter. I mean, especially kapag out of mind ka. I mean, presence of mind is really important. Kapag hindi mo na-process yun, guys, papalpak ka. Katulad ng madalas na sinasabi ko for baking, once na you put already, once you mix already your ingredients and your mixtures already put inside the oven, wala ka na ibang magagawa kung hindi hintayin na lang ito. And then after you bake, doon mo makikita kung ano yung mga faults mo. Kaya nga ako sabi ko sa inyo, when you do baking, kailangan presence of mind. And then walang masyadong istorbo, and then you are in a good mood para lahat yun is mas mapaprocess mo na tama. And then, tamang pagkaka-arrange lang ng mga ingredients mo. Kailangan kailangan sunod-sunod yung mga ingredients mo. Hindi yung kada lagay mo ng ingredients sinahanap mo pa siya. Yun ang maling procedure na kakailanganin na wag ninyong gagawin. So kaya nga advantages is meron ka laging mise en place. Mise en place is really important, guys, kasi it makes your day complete, guys, no? Ang mise en place ko, like for example, magbe-bake ako today, kahapon pa is naka-prepare na yung mga mise en place ko. Like for example, kung gagamit ako ng 15 kilos na flour, nakabalot na yung 15 kilos na flour. Kung meron na akong gagamit ako ng 75 o let me say, gagamit ako ng 3 or 5 30 grams. 5 30 grams na yeast, naka-weigh na yun, then ilalagay ko na lang sa plastic. And then nilalagyan ko ng label na 30 grams, parang ganun. And then kung gagamit ako ng 10 half cup na asukal, nakalagay na rin sila doon sa mga plastic yellow. And then nilalagay ko white sugar, half cup, parang gano'n. So, kukuhanin ko na lang and then ilalagay ko na lang. Kapag marami yung production ko. Pero kung let me say, isang production lang ang gagawin ko, nasa mga mixing bowl, ay nasa mga container lang na maliliit or sa mga tasa, gano'n, yung mga ibang ingredients ko. Pero kung marami, like for example, nung production ko ng mga ube pandesal, lahat yun is naka-weigh na. So, ang kagandahan lang kasi guys, kapag madalas kang nagbe-bake, na ma-master mo na kung gaano kadami yung ganitong amount, and then nakikita mo na kung ano yung tamang process and procedures. That was really important, guys. Hindi yung kapag nagbe-bake ka, basta-basta ka lang nagbe-bake. Kasi kailangan, kapag nagbe-bake ka, natututo ka. And then, kapag nagbe-bake ka, pinapanood mo, tinatandaan mo kung ano yung ginagawa mo. If you committed some mistakes, or faults, kailangan mo yung ituwid the next time. Kasi, and another thing guys, kapag nagpo-productions ka, hindi pwede na to. Hindi pwede, kasi once na nasira ka sa mga customer mo, hindi na yan uulit. Especially for the cakes and breads. Kapag nasira ka dyan, hindi mo na yan uulit. No? Kaya napaka-importante ng ganung procedure. Kailangan malalaman mo yung mga techniques and procedure. Lalo na sa baking guys, it takes time. It takes time, especially sa mga breads, to create production. Kaya it's really important na matutunan mo lahat yung mga techniques. And then, techniques, sometimes you learn, hindi lang sa mga ibang tao. Natututunan mo rin yan sa sarili mo. Based doon sa everyday na pagbe-bake mo at everyday na encounter mo. Sometimes, ako bibili lang ako ng mga tinapay sa mga bakery. Kung hindi busy yung nagtitinda, I keep asking questions, parang ganun. Like, for example, yung pinagbibilan ko ng tinapay dito sa Angeles, kuya, ikaw nagbe-bake, parang gano'n. And then, I keep asking basic question lang. bakit ang ganda ng monay nyo, ganyan. Pero makikita mo ang proofing time ng monay nila is maghapon. Kasi matigas yung texture, and then ipo-proof nila the whole day. Ganun katagal ang production nila. Bago ka makagawa ng maraming monay, is ang tagal ng production niya. Pero kapag niluto mo na, sunod-sunod na yun. So, kailangan mo lang kapag maraming space. So, yun guys. So, you have any questions guys? If you have any questions, pwede ko nang sagutin ngayon at you still have 30 minutes. And then, para at least the next week, meron na tayong ibang topic naman. And then, ibang mga videos na papanoorin. Again guys, if you have some questions, I will wait for you. And then, babasahin ko lang. So, I don't know kung meron na kayo. Pwede nyo i-send doon sa GC or pwede nyo i-chat dito habang pinapanood, habang hinihintay ko kayo. And then, I will answer, then we will learn all together based doon sa questions ninyo guys. Oh. Actually, ang dami sa YouTube. Before iilan lang yung nagsasabi ng totoo sa YouTube. Even minsan sa mga books, iba yung procedure nila. Pero ang isang advice ko lang, if you're going to buy some recipe books, better to buy or recipe books or cookbook, better to buy Filipino author. Kasi sometimes yung mga foreign author, especially yung mga Italian countries, gumagamit sila ng mga terms na ang hirap intindihin. Sobrang hirap intindihin ng mga ibang terms nila. Even though we have the baking terminologies, pero minsan ang hirap intindihin ng mga iba. Actually, meron kami mga basic baking terminologies, pero ang dami-dami pa mga terminologies na ginagamit nila. Meron tayong standard basic terminologies, baking terminologies. Yun lang guys, if you have some questions. Thank you for coming, Ryan. And then, sir, meron na pong connection, sorry. Alright. Sir, kailan po natin gagawin yung susunod na activity? Tatapusin ko lang yung mga intro sa baking and then I'll let you know. Pero we will make it a point na hindi tatamaan yung midterm exams ninyo. Sir, ilang temperature usually required kapag nagbe-bake ka ng cake? 170 to 180. Pero again, depende dun sa oven na ginagamit mo. Pero most of the time ako, even gumamit ako ng electric or ng gas oven, nasa 170 to 180. Then like for example, yung mga cupcakes ko na 3 ounce nasa 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes sila. Yung maliliit na ginawa ko nasa 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes lang siya. Yes, individual yung mga activity natin. Kasi hindi naman kayo pwedeng pumunta sa mga bahay-bahay, di ba? Bawal pa siya. So, we will make it a point na hindi siya ganon kagastos, pero kahit pa paano is meron tayong activity na pinaprocess and meron tayong activity na natututo tayo. So, hindi ko pwedeng gawin yung bike group kasi kapag bike group, ang mangyayari is pupunta tayo doon sa isang bahay. And then when we go to sa isang bahay, posible na hindi natin alam that we are carrier ng COVID or something. So we are trying to avoid that one. Pero I will make it a point lahat ng mga ingredients nyo is nasa bahay lang. And then pwede nyo pabili sa mga magulang ninyo kapag namalengke sila so that hindi kayo lalabas. Parang ganun. So again guys, hindi ko kayo nire-required lumabas kung ano lang yung available na ingredients ninyo. And then, kung mamamalengke yung mga magulang ninyo, pwede nyo silang pasuyo. And we are not required you to buy expensive ingredients. Just enough lang. No? So again, guys, if you have some questions, kindly please let me know. And then, habang merong oras pa tayo. So, yun lang. 30 minutes has always been our questions and answer portion. Parang ganun. So, let me know, guys, kung meron pa kayong ibang tanong. Then, bago tayo matapos, at least clear yung araw na to. And then, for the next week, tignan natin kung matatapos ko yung mga ibang intro sa mga basic, Kasi napaka-importante guys na malaman natin yung mga basic bago tayo gumawa ng mga cakes. yung mga tips at saka techniques, basic procedure, napakadali. Minsan hindi natin masyadong binibigyan ng importance yun, pero yun yung pinakamahalaga. Hindi tayo pwedeng mag-step up or mag-level up nang hindi tayo dumadaan dun sa basic, na hindi mo naiintindihan yung basic. Kasi in all procedures sa baking, basic is always basic. Lahat ng procedure na gagawin mo for baking is always meron silang mga basic procedure. Okay guys, hintayin ko yung mga questions ninyo. Then maghugas lang ako ng kamay kasi meron akong hinawakan ng something. And then kindly please raise your questions habang meron pa tayong oras, okay? Alright guys, meron na bang talong? Sirs, si Celius po ba nun? Yes, actually makikita mo naman yun. Like for example, if large amania yung gamit mo, makikita mo may mga number yan. Like for example, meron kang, makikita mo yun. Definitely. Like for example, kung 170 or 180, makikita mo meron siyang Fahrenheit at saka Celsius. Meron siya, magka-level lang. Kaya nga ako minsan sinasabi ko, 170 Celsius Fahrenheit. Pinagsasabay ko na siya. Pero it's the same. It's the same procedure. It's the same temperature, sorry. Shayna, nagbe-bake ka ba? Kasi lahat ng questions mo is good questions. I don't know kung nagbe-bake ka. It's really good questions. Yeah, napakagandang yan attitude guys. No? Yung pagtatanong is, hindi nyo dapat ikahiya yung pagtatanong. Hindi lang sa baking class. Even sa mga ibang subject ninyo, hindi natin dapat kinakahiya yung pagtatanong. Kasi kapag nagtatanong ka, you learn something. At the same time, kami mga teachers or yung mga ibang prof ninyo is nare-refresh kami. At the same time, meron din kami natututunan. No? Parang gano'n. Kasi hindi naman lahat natatandaan namin para sabihin sa inyo. So it's really important to keep asking questions. Like for example, meron akong pinanood sa inyo, naku-confuse ka, pwede kang magtanong kung bakit gano'n. But ibang procedure yung dito sir kanina, ibang procedure siya. So pwede natin pag-usapan yung mga topic na gano'n. Hindi yung nanonood lang tayo guys. Kasi kung ganito tayo lagi, wala na akong ibang masishare kung hindi kayo magtatanong ng mga questions. Alright? Any more questions guys? If you don't have any more questions, so meron pa tayong 15 minutes. So I will end my YouTube live. So meron kayong 15 minutes to relax yourselves para mamaya sa yung next subject kung meron pa kayong susunod na subject. So, okay. Last questions guys para makapagpahinga kayo. And then ako mamaya around 6 p.m. aalis na rin ako going to my work. So aalis ako ng 6 p.m. dito sa bahay. Actually, I'm ready na. So, magpapahinga lang ako ng konti and then I will go to work 6 p.m. Yes, guys, any more questions? If you don't have any more questions, maraming salamat, guys. And then, see you next week. Kindly please keep safe and God bless. And then, if you have some questions, pwede nyo gamitin yung, anytime, guys, pwede kayong mag-chat sa akin. And then, pwede ninyong gamitin yung asynchronous time natin. Asynchronous time natin is every Monday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. So pwede ninyong gamitin lahat yon if you have some questions or meron kayong hindi naintindihan. Or maybe kung gagawa kayo ng mga cakes, especially this coming Valentine's, kindly please get in touch with me kung ano yung mga gusto ninyong gawing products or baka meron na akong ma-suggest or meron na akong mapayo sa inyo, then mas magiging okay yung mga productions niyo. Again guys, 15 minutes more. Again, maraming salamat. Keep safe. So see you next week for our laboratory. And then keep safe, mag-aral kayong mabuti, and then para gumanda yung buhay nyo in the future. And then, lagi natin tatandaan guys, kahit anumang pagsubok ang dumating sa buhay natin, kahit anumang COVID, kahit magtagal pang COVID na yan, basta mag-ingat lang tayo and keep praying. And then, alam ko na at the end of the day, meron pa rin magandang naghihintay para sa atin. Just keep positive and then wag susuko. Basta mangarap lang tayo ng mangarap kasi ang paggangarap, yan lang ang pinakalibre. And then someday makikita ninyo, matutupad din yan. Alright? Anyway guys, God bless. Thank you so much. I will end the YouTube live and then keep safe. God bless. See you next week. And then I'm hoping na maging